has finished.
The sound of Cambridgeshire. BBC Radio Cambridgeshire Sport.
Good afternoon, welcome along to the show. We're going to be focusing on the FA Cup. Cambridge City at Leighton Town is our commentary match. Now, City's recent record in the Cup isn't great. It's over a decade since they last reached the first round proper.
Cambridge curls it in towards that back post. Cross comes in. Can they get in it? Heads go in, and it's Theobald with it. A great cross in for the left-hand side. And there was big Dave Theobald. Well, he deserved that. Cambridge City 1, Milton Keynes Dons 3.
Well, that was City taking on the MK Dons in a replay first round proper back in 2012. They're currently 8th in the Northern Premier League Division 1 Midlands. Leighton 5th in the Southern League Division 1 Central, promoted from the Spartan South Midlands last season. Our commentary team for the game this afternoon, Matt Ramsey and Mark Johnson, will be across the action for us.
It's the FA Cup first round qualifying day, and while some teams have Wembley dreams, clubs at this stage of the competition are as likely to reach the moon as they are to reach the famous Old Final in May. But having already won a couple of games to even get this far, the dream is to win 4 more and to hope for a money-spinning tie when the Football League clubs join the fray in November. So who'll take another step towards glory and who'll pack up those FA Cup tinfoil replicas away for another year? The Reds against the Lily Whites at 3.
So City at Leighton is our commentary game, but we'll also be across Royston against Cheshunt, Stamford on the road at Harborough Town, St Ives making the trip into deepest, darkest Suffolk. They're at Leiston, and Mildenhall against Sudbury. I'm Peter Swan, and this is BBC Radio Cambridgeshire Sports.
The sound of Cambridgeshire. BBC Radio Cambridgeshire Sport.
So our focus very much the FA Cup. Cambridge United aren't in action until Monday night. The U's taking on Reading in League One. Peterborough United today at Portsmouth. We'll have updates with Nathan Olban, who's at Fratton Park for us. We'll also bring you all of the latest from the Burley Horse Trials. We'll speak with Matt and with Jono at Leighton Buzzard in just a second, but worth a reminder of yesterday's transfer deadline day action before we do anything else. So for Cambridge United, pretty straightforward. The U's adding a lone striker to their squad, John Kamani-Gordon, arriving from Crystal Palace. That was done early in the day. It was a strange old day for Peterborough United, who accepted a bid for Johnson Clark-Harris a couple of hours before the deadline, but then the move didn't go through. Clark-Harris remaining as a Posh player. The suspicion would be he won't be involved against Portsmouth this afternoon, but we'll find out with Nathan in just a bit. Bristol Rovers, the club that Clark-Harris was strongly being linked with. Something happened late on. Darren McAntony, Posh co-owner, confirming that a bid had been accepted and personal talks were taking place, but it didn't happen. Going the other way for Posh, a couple of new signings, both strikers. Jacob Wakeling coming in from Swindon, having done well in League Two last season, and Malik Mothersill, who was at Chelsea, been in Chelsea's youth setup, actually played against Posh in the EFL Trophy last season, scored a couple of goals. He's signed a 2-year contract as well after leaving Stamford Bridge. So more on the Posh with Nathan in just a bit. Let's head over to Leighton Buzzard. Jono, can you tell us the team news is? Yeah, I always, when you get to this stage and it's a non-league game or an early round of the FA Cup game, I'm always slightly hesitant in that it sometimes takes time for the team sheets to arrive. Where are we at?
We're at Leighton Buzzard, and the team sheets may or may not be. So, I can't give you a team as yet, but there is possibly a very late signing for Cambridge City, as Matt Ramsey was on the prowl earlier and spotted someone with a number 1 shirt signing forms for City.
Indeed, it remains to be seen. It's a bit of a mystery, and we've all come in trying to work out what we think the teams are going to be. And obviously, we've looked at the teams, and all I can say is that there's a very young chap who was signing a form, and Robbie Nightingale was stood over him, the City manager. I was there just lining up Robbie Nightingale to make sure we could speak to him after the game, and it may be that it's a squad member, it may be that we actually see Joe Welch start in goal as usual, but it was someone signing forms, and he, as Marcus said, he was wearing number 1 on, so just adds a bit to the mystery, and it's ongoing because we are, as Mark said, still waiting to actually get the official team sheets come through.
That is some properly good transfer gossip when you say to someone, I think City might be making a signing. Why do you think that's the case? I saw the forms being signed. That's good stuff, Mr.
We're not
Ramsey.
mucking about here, you know. We're not mucking about here.
I mean, it's a scoop, but I couldn't tell you any more than the fact that he was young looking and very tall. I couldn't tell you that
Well, he's a goalkeeper.
And if he's wearing 1, it does make sense that he's a goalkeeper. But if you're trying to, we've been talking, Mark and I, before the game about trying to guess the City team, and it has chopped and changed a bit, and people have gone from full back to wingers and vice versa, and things are changing. But actually, Welch in goal is one constant. So if it is a goalkeeper signing and starting, then that makes it even less predictable.
So you're giving with one hand and taking with the other. You've got a very solid transfer talk in the form of having seen the papers, but then we don't know who the guy is. We don't know anything about him. Tell you what, let's move on to something a little more factual. John, I just paint a picture then for City. They've had a bit of a mixed start, 16th in the table. I know it's very early days. Just fill us in as to their season so far.
Yeah, it has been a mixed start. The squad settling in. They're what about the third division that they've been in 3 years, so they are moving around almost as much as they have in their peripatetic life since moving from Milton Road. So they're in pretty much a Midlands division, mainly I think because they're based in St Ives at the moment. As and when they get to Sawston, it'll be very interesting to see whether they're reissued with yet another division at the start of next season, promotion or no promotion. Because you always think with the pyramid, it's always straight up and down. It isn't. There's so much regionalisation and removal of possible travel that clubs move sideways and up. So it's a bit like a giant games of snakes and ladders rather than anything more linear once you get beyond step 1 of non-league. So yeah, it's been a tough start for Robbie Nightingale, Neil Midgley and Dave Theobald, who the City management team. And even getting to this stage of the FA Cup's been a bit of a slog for them. Although this is only game 2, they've managed to have 3 games without having a replay, which is some trick. They were 3-0 up at Hadley United in the extra preliminary round when the game was abandoned. And I'm sure City fans were probably fearing the worst when you're 3-0 up away from home against a lower division team and the game's abandoned. But no, they won 3-2 in the rearranged game at Hadley, so that was good against a Step 5 team. And then they were at Newmarket Town in the last round when they won 4-1, again against a Step 5 team. So this is the first time they're playing a team at their own level. Dan Cotton scored a few goals in the competition. He scored 2 in the rearranged game against Hadley, 1 in the last game against Newmarket, and also had 1 chalked off his name after scoring in the abandoned game as well. So he's got a bit of FA Cup form this season, and City will be looking to lean on him and Stefan Broccoli alongside him up front to try and power their way through Leighton side, who have started well and have beaten 2 teams at home, but 2 teams at their own level, if you like, 2 Step 4 sides already.
Yeah, Leighton seemed to be very much your classic side, having 1 promotion, just carrying good momentum from last season, despite a couple of off-field changes.
Well, absolutely. A couple of big off-field changes. Basically, having 1 promotion last season, manager Lee Bertram then walked out and joined Bedford Town with the rest of his coaching staff. So what they did was appoint Gary Finn and his assistant Gary Chance, who led Newport Pagnell to 2 consecutive FA Vars finals. And I seem to remember myself bumping into some Newport Pagnell fans at Leicester East services on the way back from a game last season after they'd just come back from winning away to find their way through to that Wembley final. So they're a bit chuffed with life, although there weren't many of them.
Now, Matt, Jono has mentioned that in terms of league, City have been all over the place the past few seasons, but the big story over quite a long period of time for Cambridge City has been around their stadium and relocating to Sawston. It seems as though if the current timetable, if they're able to keep to the current timetable, the aim is to get to Sawston around Christmas time, but with the acceptance that actually the stadium won't be completely finished.
Yeah, that is the latest one, and I think perhaps they've taken that decision just because they really want to be in, because this has been a bit of a saga. We know with the Cambridge football clubs that nothing is a smooth line in terms of getting grounds built or moved. That's with both United and City, and obviously it's now a very long time since they left the confines of the city of Cambridge, left Milton Road. They've been at Histon, St Ives, then Histon again, they're now St Ives again. So maybe now it's the finish line in sight, thankfully, which hopefully will be a big thing for Cambridge City, and it'll be a big thing moving into a new town or a new town for them in Sawston. Hopefully a good catchment area to get a good fan base in. They just need to make sure that moving in too quickly while the facilities aren't complete maybe doesn't put people off too much, in my opinion. But the fact that the actual structure of the ground and the pitch is nearly there, it's been quite a saga, but it can only be a good thing for them when it comes to an end.
Well, you would think it'll make a massive difference, won't it, to have your own facility, your own stadium, and it should be top notch as well, being brand new once it is all done. And yeah, not ideal to historically have been in the centre of Cambridge and then you end up at Sawston, but equally a real chance to embed themselves in that community at Sawston.
Absolutely, and they're starting from a lower fan base, of course, because I think the fans have drifted away a little bit since they moved out of the comfy confines of Cambridge. But the fact that they have still got a decent fan base. Well, they get a couple of hundred, 250, maybe 300 on a good day. But to have that regularly still, after being outside of Cambridge for 10 years, I think is a real testament to the supporters of Cambridge City. I mean, going back to when I was growing up, when the world was in black and white and you turned up at a game on a horse and cart, then City were the biggest club in Cambridge at the time. They had the greyhound track round the Milton Road ground. They've got gates of 8, 9, 10,000 and were the club in Cambridge, and a lot has changed since those days. But the fact that despite having to move out of Cambridge, they've still got a club with a loyal supporter base, I think is superb from their point of view, and it does give them that base on which to build when they're back in their own home of their own, if you like, out in Sawston, which at least will have still the CB postcode for them.
Now I'm going to try and recall my football in Cambridge history here, and Andrew Bennett's brilliant books on Cambridge United tell a lot of the story. Am I right in thinking that the change of destiny, if you like, for Cambridge City was all about professional versus amateur and how you wanted to play the game? Was that a big part of the story?
It kind of was, and it was also to do with payments as while being amateur. City always wanted to be the amateur side, but still managed a few payments at the time back in the early 60s, and as a result, when they were in a position to be voted into the league looked on them with a bit of a frown and a scowl. So that was kind of why United finally got the nod and City didn't. In fact, for a few years, a couple I think it was, before United finally were voted into the league, because you were voted then, both City and United were eligible for election, and City, being the bigger club, seemed the most likely, but never quite got that nod, never nearly got that nod. But you go back to when Cambridge became a city in the first place on the coronation of Queen Elizabeth, and City got in first to claim the title of Cambridge City. United had actually applied for it as well, but Cambridge, who were Cambridge Town at the time, got there first and got the nod and got named Cambridge City. So that kind of put a bit of angst in various boardrooms in the city.
We'll do the team news just ahead of the game getting underway when we've properly got the details. But Matt, at this stage, for this afternoon's match, and indeed for Cambridge City as a whole this season, worth mentioning a few of the Cambridge United connections, because inevitably there are quite a few.
There are a couple who are on the books at Cambridge United, and several more who have been on the books at Cambridge United. Partly, obviously, it's a good level for some youngsters to go out and get experience, but also there's the added link that their manager is Robbie Nightingale, who's the head groundsman at Clare College, which is where Cambridge United play, or train, I should say. So he probably gets to see some of those players on a day-to-day basis. So Patrick Stasowski, defender, and Liam Chadwick, who's a holding midfielder, they are two players who are currently on Cambridge United's books out getting experience. If you recognise the name Chadwick as a footballing name locally, it's because he is one of the two footballing sons of Luke Chadwick, who you may have heard of, is doing quite well for himself in his career. But you've also got people like Taylor Parr, who's now in his late 20s. He was part of the academy at United. You've also got Mikey Davis. You've also got Ryan Ingray. They've been on the books at United down the years as well. So quite a few links.
OK, lads, we will be back with you in a few minutes' time. Cambridge City at Leighton Town in the FA Cup this afternoon is our commentary game. We're also going to be across Royston against Cheshunt, Stamford at Harborough Town, St Ives on the road at Leiston, and Mildenhall against Sudbury. Loads of FA Cup action on the show today. We're also going to be with Peterborough United, the Posh making the trip to Portsmouth in League One, a second trip to the South Coast in the space of just a few days, having also headed to Portsmouth in the EFL Cup on Tuesday night. Both Posh and Pompey changing loads and loads of players for the Cup game from their previous league fixtures, so we're expecting both clubs to revert to type, as it were, this afternoon. We'll get the details with Nathan Olban in just a bit, just coming up to 20 minutes past 2. Let's bring you an update from Cambridgeshire's roads. Mark Johnson, Matt Ramsey, your commentary team at Leighton Town, Cambridge City on the road in the FA Cup. John, have you managed to get yourself a team sheet?
Yeah, absolutely. And so all is well with the world. And I can tell you, City are making two changes from the side that lost 1-0 to Spalding on Monday. Scott Bridges and striker Brad Rolt come in for Liam Chadwick and Stan Leach. Leach dropping to the bench. So City will start with Joe Welch in goal. Back four of Patrick Strawiski and Jake Battersby, the fullback. Richard Black, Taylor Parr between them. Joe Hood, Bruce Sissonis and Scott Bridges in midfield. Stefan Broccoli behind a front two. Brad Rolt and Dan Cotton. Now, you know in the FA Cup you can have 9 subs. Well, the teams today have got 10 between them, 5 each. Ryan Ingray for City, Stan Leach, Mikey Davis, Ed Tassel and young keeper Gene Gagg, who is a 16-year-old and as he had his signing on forms witnessed by Matt Ramsey, I think, earlier.
If you say witnessed, it makes it sound as though Matt also had to sign them, maybe as you would do
he
at
might
a wedding.
Have done.
Which I don't know. Was that the case, Matt? They didn't get you involved, did they? Oh, hang on. Is your microphone off?
I never fully
there
got
you
the.
go.
Never fully explained why I was off that far away to see what Robbie Nightingale was up to before the game, but no, I can confirm that my name isn't on his forms, but it was. I said he was a young-looking number one, and a quick Google says that there is an under-16 goalkeeper on the bench, so a good bit of early experience, and someone who had been linked with Norwich's academy even at his young age. So. I suspect it would be his first taste of senior football if he were to get on, but despite what we were maybe speculating, it is Joe Welch starting in goal as he normally did, albeit wearing number 13 today.
And it's worth looking at Leighton as well, who've made a couple of changes from their side. Notably, Albie Hall, who scores all the goals, who limped off against Dunstable on Monday, isn't playing today. That's the big absentee from a Leighton Town point of view. Ben Farrell, who's now 37, played for Cambridge United amongst others, is in central midfield.
Well, that sounds like the sort of team news we're interested in, sides losing their top scorers. But Matt, joking aside, you would imagine this is a tricky test for City in that Leighton just seem to have a bit of a bounce about them at the moment.
Yeah, I think momentum can play a part, although the fact that Albie Hall is out is important. They've made 3 changes, and that does include both of their strikers, because Jack Quigley started on Monday. He's not starting either. And the other player who's been a regular for them who's out is Seb Simpson, who is the former Cambridge City man. He's missing out as well. So there are a few absentees for the home team, but I mentioned momentum. They lost here against Dunstable on Monday. It was their first defeat of the season, and we were talking in the earlier build-up that they came up from the South Spartan League last season. They came up with 91 points. They won the division by more than 20 points, only lost 5 games in the league all season. So obviously they're riding something of a crest of a wave, and it just remains to be seen how much they might miss Albie Hall, their star man today.
John, just ahead of kick-off, paint a picture for us as to the surrounds this afternoon in Leighton Buzzard. I know when we were chatting ahead of the show that there's a cricket game going on pretty much next door.
Absolutely. Immaculate looking pitch, clubhouse and small function rooms behind the goal away to my left. We're in a small stand, covered terrace to my right, but most interestingly behind a low fence, a low picket fence, and then a mesh fence above that. There is a cricket match in process. This is one of those grounds you turn into, you see the sign for the tennis club, the cricket ground, and there's football here as well.
You got enough space in the press box? Is there enough room?
Lovely. It's absolutely fantastic. I've had a lot less room at a lot higher level than this, so I'm very impressed and pleased. I like it.
We ought to mention Leighton Town. They've looked after us really well and organised everything to do with this commentary. They've been spot on. So thank you very much to all of the team there. Hopefully we'll be talking about a Cambridge City win, though, later on. That is the plan.
The sound of Cambridgeshire. BBC Radio Cambridgeshire Sports.
We're up for the Cup here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. Full commentary as Cambridge City take on Leighton Town in the first qualifying round. The question is, can City draw on some of their FA Cup pedigree? For a while, they were real regulars in the first round proper.
Lewington over on the left-hand side. It's a good ball into the box. Oh, what a save from Zach Barrett. Wonderful tip over. It was a chance again for Lower, got the header, but Barrett, acrobatic, tipped the ball over, and he keeps the scores level.
Well, everything to play for this afternoon. Both City and Leighton are 8th tier sides. So full match commentary coming your way. Will also be across the games involving Royston, Stamford, St Ives and Mildenhall. Your commentary team at Leighton Buzzard, Matt Ramsey and Mark Johnson.
A pair of Step 4 sides go head-to-head as the FA Cup takes another stride along its meandering path towards good old-fashioned glory. And while clubs on football's uppermost rung might underestimate the grand old competition's allure, it still shines brightly for those lower down the pyramid. So Hull tread purposefully into the second qualifying round and Hull amble off into the FA Cup sunset for another year. Leighton Town against Cambridge City. Kick-off's coming up.
So much on the show this afternoon aside from the FA Cup. Peterborough United at Portsmouth in League One, and we'll keep you right across the Burley Horse Trials as well. But let's get down to it. FA Cup action. Matt and Jono, your commentary team.
The sound of Cambridgeshire. BBC Radio Cambridgeshire Sports.
A lovely sunny day in the heart of Leighton Buzzard as the teams have made their way onto the pitch and changing the pleasantries because the clubhouse is behind the goal along the edge of the penalty area, which is a nice touch and unusual. City in their change kit of aquamarine shirts and shorts with dark blue shorts. Joe Welsh in goal, Patrick Strawinski at right back, Jake Battersby on the left, Richard Black, Taylor Parr in the middle, Joe Hood, Bruce Tisonis, Scott Bridges in midfield, Scott Broccoli, Brad Rolt, Dan Cotton further forward. Leighton Buzzard, or Leighton Town, red and white striped shirts, red shorts and socks. Xavi Comas in goal. Defensively, George Joyce, Ethan Flanagan, Alfie Powell and James Sage, with Finlay Brennan, Jack Sewell either side of Ben Farrell and Luke Pyman. Jim Burnside, Louis Barrett leading the line. 5 on the bench for either side. Daniel England, the black-clad referee, and alongside me, enjoying a day in the Bedfordshire sun, Matt Ramsey.
What more could you want? It's FA Cup weekend, the sun's out. going to watch some football, and just over the fence on the far side there's a cricket match going on as well. So if something says early September more than this, I don't know what is.
Yeah, there's horse chestnuts have shed their leaves maybe, but we can't see them from here, so fall has yet to fall. The two captains gradually making their way towards the referee. In fact, the Leighton Town skipper's already spoken to Daniel England, the referee. For City, Scott Bridges, James Sage for Leighton. They're now gathered together for the traditional exchange. There's an exchange of pennants as well. Well, One Direction exchange of pennants. Leighton Town presented a pennant.
Must be FA Cup weekend. It's always a little bit adds an excitement. Always matches that can go down in history, or cup runs that both of these teams will be hoping that go down in history. And who knows what that pennant might be worth at some point.
There's a block of 3-storey houses or flats, maybe even 4-storey, behind the clubhouse away to my left. Anyone in there? There's a few of them have got the windows flung open to have a look at what's going on. It will be City having won the toss. It will be Leighton to kick off from right to left here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire on a lovely early autumn afternoon, for those who count autumn as the 1st of September onwards.
I'm going to try and keep it going until official start of autumn myself, which gives me about another 11 days, I think, but the sun's out, so it doesn't feel too autumnal. The referee just checking everyone's happy. I think he's going to signal to us to make sure we're happy for the game to continue. Well, we are. Get on with it. This stage of the competition, scores level at 90 minutes. We go to a replay. We'll talk about that should we need to. There's a check of 15 watches and we're underway. There's Leighton looking to launch it forward with Powell looking for the ball over the top. Defender underneath it, nods it half away, but it will run loose towards Barrett on that left-hand side, who keeps it in for Leighton. He's done well. He looked for a bit of support wide again. Powell quickly closed down into the challenge just to try and close him down as well. Was Dan Cotton for City, but ball in Cambridge City territory, working their way down that right-hand side with the ball down the line, looking to cut back in field. Strong and fair challenge in the end, just about stretching out from Taylor Park, and then the ball over the top once more, and they'll run out and away for the throw to Cambridge City deep in their own half. We've been playing for just under a minute, and City barely getting a foot on the ball there, and certainly Leighton Town felt they should have had a free kick, not for outside the box, which is about the closest that City have got to the ball so far.
Now they might, as the ball bounces awkwardly in front of Broccoli, and the ball played long, and that should be easy meat for the neon green clad keeper Xavi Comas in the late goal, who clutches the ball in one big right paw and then bowls it out towards this left hand side. It's played long, looking for the ball over the top, scampering back initially is Stravitsky to get it half away, but it's swung back by Leighton as they look towards the edge of the area. Black with a good interception for City on the edge of his own box. Then Parr, the other centre half, can look to play it away. Doesn't do so just for the moment. Goes all the way back to the purple-clad Welsh, who will play it long again. There's a chase for Brad Rolt, but he won't get anywhere near it. In the end, it's tidied up by Bridges, who plays it down the line. Big bundle into the back of Cotton. Unnecessary. Protests of innocence from Alfie Powell, but Cotton's gone down. He might need patching up.
Yeah, the Leighton Town player there just saying he headed the ball, and I think he did, but only after he ploughed through Broccoli, the City man there, and early chance for them to put men forward and put the ball in the box. It's only maybe about 20 yards, if that, from goal, wide right, and Leighton have left a few men up, but City have put plenty forward.
Sun's at that perfect level where you can't quite see the edge of the area at our angle, but it's free kick is 10 yards outside of it. Put 3 in from this right touchline. It's swung in deep towards that far post, nodded away by the Leighton defence. They did well there, and they found touch by the low barrier that runs round the side of the pitch.
Headed away by Ben Farrell, who we said pre-match used to be a professional at Cambridge United, also former Cambridge City man himself, so looking to get one over on his former club.
Throw goes short and worked again down the line. Bit of a heavy touch, but in the end, so it was played in. There was a chance for scamper forward for Cotton, but overplayed for him, and it ran away off him last for the goal kick. And it is 0-0, early stages, 4 minutes in.
We were talking about the number of options that City have, or maybe around the strikers. We were trying to work out, would it be 4-4-2, 4-3-3? And I think it's looking more like 3 players in support of Rolt, who is the more out-and-out striker. So they've got the likes of Broccoli playing a bit more centrally and options out wide. City haven't scored in their last 2 games, but they've got players on the pitch who can do that damage today.
There's the ball forward, pushing and pulling by both, and it's picked up in the middle of the park. Looking to thread it forward, and trailing left by a City man, actually. Got a kick on the head for his troubles. And in fact, City get the free kick. It was a scrappy touch in the end. Pyman was penalised and just caught the top of the head of Taylor Parr, who had dived in a little bit. And City get the free kick. And just as a point of note, there's a number 18 on the pitch for...
I thought that, Mark. Actually, it's the number 10, and it's the most funky-looking 0 I've ever seen.
I'm going for 18.
Oh,
Still,
I reckon it might be Jack Sale anyway.
I agree.
Let's hope so.
It's played long, a wasted free kick, and out it goes for the throw deep in their own half. Let's have an update from Andy Abbott watching Royston.
Yeah, we've got 5 minutes gone, and really it's visitors have started really, really well this afternoon. Just 3 minutes gone, and James Meehan cut in from the left-hand side, unleashed his shots, and Lewis Chadwick did well to save, and then straight after that, Nwambi and Joku, free just outside the box, cross shot just the wrong side of a post, and I have to say that there was a quick break from Royston down the other end. Greg Standiford went down in the box. Alistair Wilson, the referee, having nothing to do, said he got the ball. So 5 minutes gone, 0-0.
Thanks, Andy. Steve Jackson's at Harbour as well, watching Stamford.
Where, Jono, it is currently 0-0. Neither side has troubled the opposition's goalkeeper, but it's pretty boisterous out there at the moment. Stamford used to training on 3G, but not quite up to the quality of what they're playing on today. They're spreading the ball around quite nicely. Harbour are not very keen on conceding at the moment. So stalemate here, 0-0.
Thanks, Stephen. As just getting away, Brennan on the right-hand side delivered a cross in, but that was beaten away by the City defence, then hoiked in the direction of the cricket field, and it's over the sight screen, and just ends up at third man.
That's going to take some catching, that one, as opposed to... That's 1-1 in terms of balls going between pitches. We've got here very nice and early, just in time to see a slog sweep 6 onto the football pitch. Thankfully no one was on it at the time.
Throw taken, cross delivered into the area, nodded away by the City defence. Parr gets it towards the halfway, but City struggling to get out of their own half at the moment. A dreadful touch by Battersby's presented Leighton with another chance to deliver the cross from the right hand side, blocked off by Battersby, and another throw for Leighton close to the corner flag.
Slightly self-inflicted there, just let Leighton have the ball high up the pitch, and it took a good block to put it back out of play.
Throw goes back towards Barrett, work towards that far side, and again City with that number of those aquamarine shirts back to block it off for another throw to Leighton, deep in City territory on the right hand side. Leighton steal an inverse number of yards, and then the ball in towards the edge of the area. It will come back out towards that far side. Sale will look to deliver the cross, deep, tempting towards the far side, little nod down, and it's kept in play well, back towards Sage, who has a wild slap at the ball, and from 20 yards puts it about 20 yards out and nearly finds one of those open windows in the flats behind. It is 0-0, 7 minutes in.
Would have been quite an entertaining thing to come home to. You didn't quite have the elevation for the open window, but someone could have come home and found a match ball in the lounge.
Well, I suspect if they're coming home to it, they wouldn't have left the window open.
Well, you never know. It's a nice warm day, but I mean, I hope they weren't there, because they'd have lost a tooth if they were standing in the way of it.
Explain that to your insurance company.
They'll never believe it.
As Welsh then, in his blackcurrant coloured kit, launches the ball away over the halfway line, looking for the nod on, and kind of got it from Rolt. In the end, Broccoli beaten away, but it's launched forward by Stravinsky down the right-hand side. Picked up by Bridges, midway inside City, Leighton territory. City losing the ball though. Ball on this near side and just about getting back to it. Patrick Stravinsky managed to turn and hold off a couple of challenges and plays it into a danger area. It might run loose towards the edge of the box, and somehow Battersby got across to make a block and City escape. Decidedly rickety defending with the ball over the top, looking for the offside figure of Brad Rolt. Flag up, keeper has the ball in his capacious mitt, and Leighton back in possession, but there was some awful defending there, Matt Ramsey.
He did initially well to win the ball, but then plays a very silly pass, Sazowski, and he's got defending to do again here.
All over the top, flicked off the foot of Finlay Brennan, and out for the throw to Cambridge City, level the edge of their own penalty area. 9 minutes gone. It's Leighton 0, Cambridge City 0 in this FA Cup first qualifying round.
Indeed, City looking to pick up some form in this competition. They've not made it past this stage in the last 2 seasons.
Chip down and bounces into touch. There's not much runoff between the barrier and the edge of the technical area. In fact, the technical area is almost over the pitch, which will suit a lot of managers actually.
Well, yeah, certainly they don't need to take too many steps, so they might be tripping over a flying winger.
There's again some indecisive defending as Black and Bridges got themselves in a little bit of a tangle there. In the end, an emphatic clearance from Leighton clips off the City man, out for a throw to the home side, almost level the edge of the area on this left-hand side. Which, sure there must be someone hidden behind one of the dugouts. There is indeed, taking the throw, and it flicks in and off the head of Pyman and into the hands of Welsh, who can launch it away for Cambridge City down the left-hand side. And first bounce, second bounce. Couple of defenders get there, and then it's cleared by Joyce for the home side. Look at the ball over the top. Look at the run of Burnside down the right hand side. Gets away, slips slightly actually from under pressure from Battersby. Gets up roaring his disapproval at the linesman as Battersby gets it away. Nice touch in towards the edge of the area where Broccoli looks to get it back but was offside, and despite the follow-up shot ending up in the trees, it wouldn't have counted.
You're mentioning the chestnuts. I think that's just taken some down off the trees with that shot, but it was a shame. Decent, lively ball forward, actually. Cotton, Broccoli, Hood, all looking to get up in support of Brad Rolt, the centre forward, and they looked like they were going to get in behind, but illegally so.
Yeah, Leighton held a high line, a good solid line. It takes a little bit of discipline to do that. That's just what they've got, and that's just what they did, and sprang the offside trap to perfection as it's launched away, nodded clear by City. The chase back, and Flanagan comes across and finds touch, and that'll be a throw to Cambridge City, 15 yards over halfway on the left hand side. Bright sunshine here in Leighton Buzzard on this FA Cup first qualifying day. Second round's in 2 weeks' time, in case you're interested. It's in 2 weeks' time if you're not interested, but you know. There's City, nice touch down that left-hand side, looking to try and send the cross in. Peels it, flicked off a Leighton hand, but it's whipped back in deep towards the far side, looking to try and tee it up. Rolt's got a bit of help. Can't get the cross in. Bridges is there. Bridges will deliver the cross in towards that far side, tipped away acrobatically by the keeper, and will be kept in play by the Leighton defender Joyce, who will clear over the halfway line. A teasing cross came in, and Xavi Comas dealt with it well. Matt Ramsey
it was almost looking like it might drop in the far corner. I don't think it would have quite done, but the keeper wasn't sure. And there was a man, Rolt, behind him who's taking up some good positions, so keeper was forced into action.
As Battersby overruns the ball and pushes his man over and concedes the free kick, which Leighton will take on halfway on the right hand side. Plenty in red and white stripes forward. City will bring all bar Brad Rolt back. And will deliver it deep in towards the edge of the area where it's flicked on. Just Bridges hesitated and hooks it over his shoulder towards the halfway line. Rolt with it a lot on. There's a chase down this near side for Broccoli, who just ran out of pitch, but did at least force the ball upfield. And City having to perhaps hit on the counter at the moment, Matt Ramsey.
They are, although he is one of those players who's been in the goals so far this season. He's got 3 goals officially. Cotton has 4, although both of them did score in the extra preliminary round match against Hadley United, which got abandoned at half-time. So they have actually found the net once more each than the official statistics will tell you.
Yeah, they found the back of the net as well in the match that was rearranged as well, so they'll be happier about that. Long ball over the top, looking for the run down this left-hand side. Defenders uncertain, and one of them's pushed over. So it's a free kick to City in their own penalty area. Quarter of an hour gone. Cambridge City here at Leighton 0-0. Let's go to Portsmouth, where Nathan Albans watching Peterborough.
Yeah, where it's Portsmouth 0, Posh 0. Marriott scored within 5 minutes for Posh here last season, and Ricky J. Jones has nearly done the same. Playing on the left, blocked a clearance, ran in on goal, but his shot was repelled at the near post by former Posh stopper Will Norris. Portsmouth were growing into the game. Their number 9 Bishop with a shot blocked. A reminder, no Posh number 9 today. Johnson Clark-Harris absent after his transfer to Bristol Rovers fell through late last night. So Efron Mason-Clark is playing up top. It's Portsmouth 0, Posh 0.
Thanks, Nathan. Let's see, Leighton man gets a strong word, I think, from the referee. It was Jim Burnside, spoken to in no uncertain terms by Daniel England, the referee.
Yeah, he was speaking to Pat Sazowski in fairly strident terms himself, that you've not missed much while we were at Portsmouth because there was a bit of an injury delay, and it came from a foul that Burnside clearly was rather disagreeing with.
As the ball forward, and City for the umpteenth time, and Rolt for the umpteenth time is offside here at Bell Close, and it's Leighton Town 0, Cambridge City 0. And incidentally, Matt, having been in East London last Saturday and Bedfordshire this, I'm looking for another spelling of Leighton to go and commentate on next Saturday.
Absolutely. Well, how many options do you think you've got? I suppose there is going to be a Leytonstone team in London if you wanted to go back, but you probably didn't enjoy yourself there too much watching Cambridge United last Saturday.
Spelling's too similar, as Bridges on this near side tries to win a throw and does really well. And I see what you mean about the shirt numbers for Leighton being rather funky.
It is. One of the first things I always look for is to make sure that teams don't have something silly like stripes on the back of their shirt, because it means you can't read the number. But then they've gone and blotted the copybook by, as you said, the number 10 does look distinctly like an 18.
As over-enthusiastic challenge from Pyman, concedes a free kick in City territory, which Bridges takes quickly and poorly, but it was controlled even worse, and Battersby looks for the ball over the top, and offside flag up against Brad Rolt for the umpteenth and 1th time.
It's hard to know if he's taking up good positions because he's getting in behind, or is he taking up bad positions because he's offside every time he gets the ball, frankly. His finishing let him down anyway, because that was another one endangering the trees behind the goal, even though the flag was up and it wouldn't have counted either way.
He's just been spoken to by the referee, either for kicking the ball away or taking the shot after the free kick had gone, or the referee is a very keen arborealist and didn't like his trees being mishandled.
Perhaps he's giving him advice on how to beat the offside trap as well, you never know.
We've had 17 minutes as the clearance hits the railing in front of us, and it's Leighton 0, Cambridge City 0. Strawisky with the ball down the line, looking for return pass, gets it as well, looks to deliver over the top. There's a chase down that far side for Cotton, and he'll twist and turn on the edge of the box. He's got a man on the overlap, eschews that option, goes back instead to Bridges, who has to take a touch, and back in field to Sisonis, who works it on. Hood now looks to return pass, flicked on. Rolt is onside, squirms past a couple into the area and puts City in front. Brad Rolt finally beat the offside trap, squirmed his way between 3 defenders and fired low beyond the keeper's left hand. 18 minutes gone. It's Leighton Town 0, Cambridge City 1. So while we absorb that, Andy Abbott, Royston against Cheshunt.
Well, 17 minutes gone here and it's still scoreless, but really it's the visitors that should have got in front. They've had two really good chances. Jamie Reynolds just outside the box thumped a shot that hit the upright and went out for a throw-in, in fact. And then James Meehan, who had that shot that was well saved by Chadwick in the opening minutes. He was free at the back stick, and a tame effort this time against Chadwick, who managed to get it behind for a corner. Royston struggling to break Cheshunt down. 17 minutes gone, 0-0.
Thanks, Abs. And to Harborough, Steve Jackson watching Stamford.
Where it is still 0-0, Mark, but the flurry of rubber being flown up in the centre of the pitch tells you all you need to know about the sort of battle we have here town this afternoon against the Daniels. One shot worthy of the name so far, the 12th minute, rifled off the outside of his boot by one Lee Tomlin, formerly of the Posh. Comfortable save by Daniel Wallace in the Daniels goal. 0-0.
Thanks, Stephen. As the ball over the top again, looking for the little nod on towards Hood on the edge of the area. Won't quite get there. This time Leighton able to clear their lines and bring it away and win a throw just over halfway. Strawitzki tries to run away with the ball, doesn't get away with it for too long. Leighton will take another throw. There's been a goal in the Peterborough game, and let's hear from Nathan.
Yeah, and Posh have taken an early lead. Ricky J. Jones jinking with the ball at his feet. Come in from the left-hand side, sent his defender one way, he went the other, and then curled the ball into the far corner. Delightful goal, and it's Portsmouth 0, Posh 1.
I have to. Free kick taken. Here comes City again, down the right-hand side, looking to dance his way into the area. Broccoli with a shot, and he got it on target. And it was a comfortable save, but it was a quick free kick, scampering down that right-hand side. Good burst. Good run, not the greatest finish, but that was another chance for Cambridge City, Matt Ramsey.
Well, they've actually started rather running away from the defence now, and that's how the goal came, the Rolt goal. He managed to obviously be deeper picking the ball up. He wasn't offside on that occasion, just ran through the challenges very nicely to fire home, and that's exactly what Broccoli's just been trying to do, cut inside onto his left on the right-hand side, but the shot, as you say, very tame and an easy stop for Xavi Comas, the goalkeeper. As we approach the midway point of the first half, still goalless. Weak header back into the danger area from Strawitzki, but they got away with it, did City. Leading by goal to Hood, a nil. Hood tries to bring the ball away and was caught by a trailing leg. City will have the free kick. It's way inside their own half. You know, you're watching a particular level of football. That's a pretty meaty late tackle, not particularly dirty, but fairly heavy, by Ben Farrell, and they just get on with it. The referee's not interested in speaking to someone.
Quite right.
Absolutely.
Free kick taken out wide towards Battersby on the left-hand side. Has to take a touch. Sonis gets it back to Parr and gets the ball back as well. Look to play it out, and he's played it over the heads and out for the throw to Leighton, which they take quickly in towards just outside the area. A little nod on, but it's behind the supporting player, and Bridges comes away with it for City. Rather pinged it into his man, but it was held up well by Dan Cotton, and then Bridges, looking to go wide on this near side, went rather too wide, and that'll rattle into touch.
It's important that City have made this brighter start, got the goal on 18 minutes. Maybe perhaps Leighton Town's slow starters, because they'd made an excellent start to the season, but they were here on Monday, lost against Dunstable 2-1, and the damage was done with both goals in the first 20 minutes. So City making the most of maybe them not being too quick out of the blocks.
Flick down the line, and Leighton winning themselves a throw close to the corner flag on this right hand side. City right, the Leighton left, and the ball will be trebucheted into the area. City with all bar two back, actually. Ball into the box, nodded away initially by Black, but it will come back in towards the edge of the box. City not clearing their lines, goes wide towards James Sage down the left hand side. Big tool number 3 for Leighton, trying to turn, and has done so. His cross was not anything to write home about, as it bounces on the roof of the net.
Into the roof of the net, and then onto that step terracing behind the goal, and it's where the clubhouse is, which is therefore why most of the Leighton fans seem to be congregated in those steps behind the goal if they're not in this area with the stand behind where we are.
Yeah, it's either for the clubhouse with the associated beverages, or it's for the ice cream van that's parked in the corner of the ground.
He seems to be doing a fairly good trade, and if we go quiet at half time, we know where you've dived off to, Mark.
Yep. I can resist anything but ice cream and other forms of temptation too, but that's another matter. As the ball thundered forward by the City defence, there's a chase for the goal scorer Rolt, won't get there. And Kulmus, the keeper, comes to collect. City lead by Brad Rolt's goal to 0 here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire in the FA Cup first round qualifying, or first qualifying round, however you want to put it. And clearance easily dealt with, but a poor clearance from City, and it's picked up on this near side all over the top, and that's wasted. City dealing with that well, looking reasonably comfortable at the moment.
They are. Well, certainly Jim Burnside, the number 9, is cutting a bit of a lone figure. He's not had many touches of the ball in the advanced positions, and it is maybe targeting the two City fullbacks where they're finding some joy, but they've not managed to turn it into deliveries into the box as yet to create a chance.
Long clearance, and that's over the head of the Leighton defence, but there is a chase into the corner, and the referee, who has got a better view than I, mainly because he's on the pitch and thus not obscured by one of the dugouts, gives the goal kick. It would be awkward if his view was obscured by a dugout if he was on the pitch, though, Matt.
That would be slightly strange. Not sure what kind of decision he'd be looking to make if he was from there. He did have a linesman in close attendance, so I reckon they might have got it right.
Black gets the ball away, looks for the ball down the line. Good ball as well, but there's Brad Rolt offside.
Yeah, he's not having much luck. There must be 5 or at least offsides in this match so far, and we've only been playing 24 minutes, but as we said, the one decisive moment in that opening stages, he wasn't offside and he made it count. Really took his goal very well as well, beating a few challenges and slotting it in past Comas.
You're listening to BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. I'm Mark Johnson. Dan? Where did he come from? Matt Ramsey's alongside me, and either way, it's Leighton 0, Cambridge City 1.
You may have had a Dan with you in pre-season, I think, at some point.
I did, didn't I?
It wasn't me. I don't think we look too similar. He's about 2 feet taller than me.
It doesn't look similar at all as the ball bounces on the edge of the area. It might have been a touch of hand about it from the big Leighton number 9, but City get it half away. Farrell with the ball over the top, and that's aimless and out for the goal kick to Cambridge City, who continue to lead by a goal to 0. They had a bit of a storm to weather, or maybe a minor squall to weather at the start of the match, but have done so reasonably successfully.
It is, yeah. Just again, as I said, the fullbacks having a few tests. They've kept it away from Battersby, but getting into trouble on the left-hand side. Most of it's coming right down in front of our noses, which is where Pat Stasuski, the young Cambridge United defender on loan, is, which is also right in front of Robbie Nightingale, who's really in that right-back slot, because the dugouts are about 2 miles apart from each other, so he's in a good position to try and do some coaching of his fullback.
As City winning the throw just inside Leighton Town territory on the right hand side, quickly taken to Sonis, who runs into trouble, loses the ball. Farrell down the line. Burnside will look to turn and cut in field and deliver it wide towards the right hand side. Good ball as well towards Barrett in space just outside the area. A really well timed challenge by Battersby initially to win the ball and come away with it. He's lost it. And here come Leighton again down that far side, but it's a City man back winning it back and clearing upfield for a forlorn chase really for Brad Rolt, but he did enough to force the throw.
It's forced the defender to clear the ball into the cricket nets there on the other side of the field. Someone's just scaling the fence, which is about 6 foot tall. He's a young kid. He's just scaled the fence to run onto the pitch and go and get the ball back.
That was mighty impressive, wasn't it? It was like springing his heels.
Well, it wouldn't be you or me even trying to do it.
No. I can delegate that sort of thing.
You can go and tell us what the score is, actually, while he's there.
There's Bridges for City on the left-hand side, leading by a goal to 0. Pinging it in. Challenge coming back in from Luke Pyman for Leighton. Clatters off him, and City will have a throw midway inside Leighton territory. On their left-hand side, it's Leighton 0, Cambridge City 1.
Yeah, it was the first real time that Burnside had got involved previously that City had to deal with, but they've got it away coming forward at the other end now.
Break, cross into the box, cleared initially comfortably by the Leighton defence, and then it took a couple of attempts to work it away. Finally Joyce, via a deflection, wins the throw for Leighton Town inside their own half.
Pleased to report that kid with the ball is scaling it to come back, having completed his job.
There's a thunderous whack upfield from Flanagan, looking for the nod on and getting it as well from Brennan, but Welsh able to come out and collect it for Cambridge City and bowls it out in a trice towards the left hand side. City with aquamarine and dark blue. Pitch perhaps a little long, and ball not quite running at times how City would like, but whether that's a groundsman or whether it's City, which is a moot point perhaps. There's a long ball down that left hand side, and getting away is Battersby. He's got a bit of space, level with the edge of the area. Support behind him from Broccoli. Cross into the area, takes a deflection. Bridges arrives, edge of the box, had a thump at it, and sticking out a foot, almost managing to turn it in, was Rolt, who stuck out an ambitious foot and very nearly directed it goalward.
Yeah, there was Rolt and Hood both in attendance to it. The shot by Bridges was clearly going wide, but it was almost going so far wide that it turned into a handy assist, and the foot going out, it wouldn't have needed much of a contact to probably turn that in. Just couldn't quite get it.
Leighton trying to clear their lines and walling about with it rather, but in the end getting away with it. It's throw to Leighton, who trail by 1-0 against Cambridge City. Let's go to Royston against Cheshunt. Andy Abbott.
Well, half an hour gone here, and it's rather settled down the game now, and neither side really creating loss. All the battles really between the two penalty areas, although having said that, just moments ago the visitors again got into a dangerous position, and again the shot was weak. So game settled down at the moment, was not creating very many chances in the last 3 minutes. Half an hour gone, 0-0.
Ball over the top from Leighton is aimless because they want to go to Harborough to find out how Stanford are doing. Steve Jackson will tell us.
Well, I wish I could tell you about a goal, Mark, but I can't. We've still only had that one chance, and it was a decent chance for Lee Tomlin, which he took off the outside of his boot and was comfortably fielded by Daniel Wallace in the Stanford goal. Harborough shading it at the moment, certainly with the more purpose of the two teams, but at the moment, Graham Drury not too animated on his on the touchline in his technical area, so it can't be all that bad. Currently, Harbour Town 0, Stanford 0.
Thanks, Stephen. As Farrell for Leighton Town, midway inside the City half, goes wide towards the right hand side. Joyce will pick it up, look for the ball down the line. He's got continues his run in support, but in the end, looking to bustle his way to the byline. The cross comes in. Good work from Barrett, really good work from Barrett. City got a man back, able to clear, but not effectively. Picked up by Ben Farrell, but he's given it away, and Scott Bridges will come away with it for City. Bustling run forward. He's got men right and left, and that's the right pass, and he's picked out Cotton in space in the box, looking to pull it across towards Rolt, who stretches, it comes back off the post, and Hood can't force it over the line. City really should have made it 2-0, couldn't do so. Great break down the left-hand side. Broccoli with a cross onto the path, into the path of Rolt, about a yard out. The keeper did brilliantly to keep it out at some cost to himself, I think, and Hood couldn't force it in either, but that was a really good chance for City.
Should have been 2-0, absolutely. The ball was given away, and Bridges just knew he could slip the ball in. The focus was on Rolt, who probably was offside, but the pass went across him. Broccoli onside. He could have shot, and he's just overcooked the centre. If he takes a bit off it, it's an easy tap in for Rolt. He just has to stretch for it because he's reaching for the heavier pass. Just hits the base of the post, and the keeper does well to stop the rebound. But it should have been 2-0.
It's a real let-off for Leighton, who have a throw. And the keeper has been repaired. It is still just the 1-0. Two sides at same level, different divisions, but same level of the non-league pyramid. As Black is penalised for too much shirt pulling, much too much shirt pulling.
Yeah, just a bit of a grapple, but perhaps a little bit unsubtle there. And well, will City in general be made to regret that miss, which would have put them really in control at 2-0 up, but they'll be made to regret it even sooner. This is a dangerous position for the left wing cross.
It is. It's 4 or 5 yards outside the box. It's level with the penalty area. Two-man wall has been constructed. Yeah, it's 7 or 8 yards in from this left touchline, perhaps 4 or 5 outside the box. Perhaps a little further than that, actually. 2 men just inside the area. Deep cross into the hands of... might have been into the hands of Welsh. A good fist on the ball. Got the ball away. City man down in the penalty area. Play continues, and then the referee stops it. It's Welsh, and I think it was Taylor Parr combined there.
It's one of the defenders, the keeper comes across, gets a punch, and then there's a collision between 2 City players. There's no suggestion of a foul, which is why it'll be a drop ball when it starts, but Welsh came across, got a decent punch on it, but it was a pretty heavy contact with him, and it was initially Black, I think, who was taking his time getting up, but actually Welsh is the one who's grimacing now. A bit of annoyance from some of the home fans behind that goal, but I think the referee had to stop it because there were 2 players, both injured.
I tell you what, Matt, I mean, you're right in saying that there was no hint of a free kick, but week in, week out in the Football League, that's given us a free kick, isn't it?
Well, I think that would have been a dodgy one to give because he's clearly run into his own player, but obviously referees do sometimes get that kind of protection, but didn't come to any harm with where the ball went when those players were both injured.
Welsh ships it out, nodded back in field, but Strawinski looking for the nod on, flicked away by the some deft play actually by Leighton defence, but they've given it away, and Sonis will look to chip it towards that far post and miss the on-running, overlapping Drake Battersby.
Yeah, we had players, probably 2 or 3 players to his right in a fairly congested area, and he had one bit of pitch one player on the pitch to aim for going left. He's really got to find him for him to have any chance. He's overcooked it by quite a long distance.
City lead by Brad Rolt's goal to nil, coming in the 18th minute. Rolt also hitting the foot of the post just after the half hour. We've got 10 minutes or so to the break. It's Leighton Town 0, Cambridge City 1 on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. Long clearance forward. Gets the nod on and works towards Barrett, who slipped away from his man and was scampering towards the edge of the area, and fire against the post, cracks back, little work on, still it's not clear. Now the flag will go up in the middle of the box, and City get the offside, but as the shot pinged in, Welsh was beaten, the post wasn't. 2 Leighton men tried to turn it in, initially Brennan, who wasn't offside, then Burnside, who was, and City get a big let-off. And that was a huge escape. So the post hit at either end. City still lead, 36 minutes in.
Well, if the one that City had just grazed the bottom of the post, that one has rattled it. Was, again, the fullback's just being exploited. Battersby should have made it his. When he missed it, he's too high up the pitch and a big chance for Barrett. And he's got it out under his feet, hit it very well, and it smashes the far post. And there's absolutely no way that Welsh was saying that if it goes in.
And a couple of follow-ups City were a little fortunate with, but then the offside flag bailed them out in the end.
It's the first real chance that Leighton Town have had as a shooting opportunity, and they won't come much closer without actually scoring.
Throw comes back towards City territory, and Richard Black has to go all the way back to his keeper. Welsh, no-nonsense clearance over halfway, but it'll be nodded back, and that might just put a little bit more encouragement in Leighton's sails. But the ball over the top, looking at the run of Broccoli down this right-hand side. And Stephen Broccoli's got away from his man just for a second, has to turn on the corner of the box. Now looks to slip it in. And as he did so, defender dived in to put it behind for the corner. Cotton went to ground just in case, but corner is the correct decision.
It certainly was. No one on the pitch appealing for a foul, but it was just loose there. Broccoli played it in. It was there for both players to try and attack the ball. City man got there first, but then stopped with a good challenge. But the centre halves are up, both Black and Parr for the corner.
Parr goes near post towards Black at the far, doesn't find his initially, and then doesn't at the second attempt as it's launched straight up. Sonis tries to get it back, ball over the top, but that should run into the hands of the keeper. It's 1-0 City here. There's been a goal at Fratton Park. Nathan.
Yes, and the home side are back in it. It's Portsmouth 1, Posh 1. The home crowd were getting agitated after Jones's goal, but they've been building. Bishop's been threatening, and now he's latched onto a cross from the right-hand side to nod into the back of the net. It's Portsmouth 1, Posh 1.
Thanks, Nathan. Cambridge City still leading here in the FA Cup second qualifying round against Leighton Town, who are in possession. And dancing infield is Page, the fullback, but he's given it away, and it's Hood, and he can put Broccoli away down the right hand side and does so, looking to play it back into the middle where Rolt was rather barged off the ball. City still get the corner.
Yeah, they're just making not quite the right decisions. They're getting into plenty of positions, which is going to give them hope that they can carve out chances, and they do still have this corner, but it was with Hood, and I think it was helped out by the fact that Broccoli was charged off the ball when it was off the ball. Just gave him one fewer option to aim for.
Corner, left-footed in swinging. Plenty forward for City towards that near post, and then flash past, an acrobatic effort from Tyler Parr, struck at the wind and hit the weather, but he'll get the ball back on the left-hand side. Support behind him. Sonis will deliver it in deep towards the far post, nodded back across the danger area, looking to bring it down, can't quite do so, but it will find its way back out towards this left-hand side. Cotton, I think it is, in the corner, looks to try and deliver something. Twists and turns, he's got support alongside him, but he's off the ball, so support won't help him. There's Leighton try and come away with it, and they've slipped it down this near side. Then a dreadful touch initially from the big centre forward, but he's kept it in. He's done well, actually. It's Burnside as he plays the ball down the line. He's got support in the middle from Pyman. Walsh comes out of his goal and is caught as he did so, and gets the free kick.
Yeah, it was a good charging run by Burnside to try and set that up the line for Pyman, but just too much pass on Burnside, too much weight on Burnside's pass, and Welch was there and didn't need much of an invitation to hurtle over the challenge as well, and referee gives the foul.
Burnside lost it initially, and they did really well to recover and react the quickest. And City will have the free kick with just over 5 minutes to go to the break. BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. It's City lead by Rolt's goal to nil, and they could have had more, but both sides have now struck an upright as the clearance forward spins off the top of a Leighton head and out for a throw to Cambridge City, midway inside Leighton territory. Be interesting to know what Robbie Nightingale, the City manager, makes of the first half. Mixed feelings perhaps. Happy with the lead, perhaps might think he could be further ahead.
Well, certainly the Rolt opportunity, that was a badly executed way, because Broccoli overdid the pass. It would have been a straightforward tap-in for 2-0, and that would obviously have completely changed the complexion, but at least they got away with a chance that Leighton had themselves, which when they hit the post.
Nifty feet from Farrell to get away initially from Sinonis, who kicks him in the end and barges him over, and Leighton will have the free kick just over halfway.
They don't need much of an invitation to put men forward, even from a free kick on the halfway line. Ethan Flanagan, one of the two centre-backs, has gone up for this.
So it will be delivered in from deep, curled in and whipped away easily by the City defence towards Rolt, who's isolated, but one held up his man, and then the ball over the top, which had to be dealt with by Sage for Leighton, and he did just about, only just, and it's back, and now Parr will clip it down the left-hand side. City looking to run onto it, but that's a bit too ambitious, I think. Joyce wants to play it and does just. He had about a month's less time than he thought there.
He did well to beat his man, and then having done that, passed the ball straight out of play, so City have the throw in not far from the corner flag.
Which they take in towards that near side. City trying to manufacture a cross. They've got two in the middle who will stay there as they win a corner.
Yeah, good play by Battersby. He's had defending to do, and that's where a lot of the threat has come, but he's looked happy to join the attack, and right on the opposition byline did well, just drilling it off the shins of a defender, and they've had a lot of corners in this half.
Right-footed in swinging, Cloud behind Sun just at the moment as the corner delivered in deep towards that far post, headed away by the Leighton defence. They look to complete the clearance. Bridges gets across to stop them getting too far away, and then they'll whip it towards the left-hand side. Another goal at Fratton Park. Nathan.
Yeah, and Portsmouth have come from behind to lead 2-1. A cross in from the right, and it's a moment for Romany Critchlow to forget. He swung his right boot at it, missed the ball completely, and there was Abu Kamara to just slot the ball past Billocker pitch. It's Portsmouth 2, Posh 1.
Thanks, Nathan. As Leighton give the ball away, and Broccoli will look to run at his man down that left-hand side. In the end, Flanagan did just enough, but really made life awkward. There's a thunderous challenge from Battersby, and he's won the ball. He's forced it wide towards Broccoli on the left-hand side, level with the edge of the area. He's got a man on the overlap. That is Battersby, delivers across, deep far post, nodded back into play rather than dangerously, but Bridges will pick it up, corner of the box on the right for Cambridge City, leading by a goal to nil. 2 minutes to the break. Bridges goes down after delivering the pass, but gets it back, clips it into the area, and only finds a red shirt, and away comes Farrell for Leighton, but he's overhit that. He goes all the way back via Tyler Parr to his keeper, and Welsh gets it away, kept in nicely on that right hand side by Battersby. I don't know how he did that, and had the wherewithal to get to his feet again. Find Taylor Parr, who plays it wide towards the left hand side for Cambridge City, going forward with a spring in their steps at the moment. So shake off a couple of challenges and continue the run, looking to get to the byline. 2 in the middle, I think, pull it back, but still continuing. It runs towards Hood, who thunders it in off the keeper, and City make it 2-0. Great break down the left hand side, pulled across unselfishly into the path of Joe Hood, who thundered it in from close range off the keeper. City double their lead just a minute or so before the break.
Well, they made it count there, and it's with both goals, just a run, direct running between the defence. That was absolutely superb by Jake Battersby. Gone in through so many players. He could have, in the end, shot. You wouldn't have blamed him if he did. Just pulled it out across the box, took the goalkeeper out of play, and Hood, it would have been another sitter had he missed. Despite the keeper's best ever efforts, can only turn it into the side netting of his own goal. And City will feel much better for that goal that they've obviously been pressing for, with only about 30 seconds of the half to play.
Yeah, be a little bit of stoppage time, but not the months we're used to at higher levels, I hope. As City doubling their advantage right on the stroke of half time. They've deserved it for about the last 20-25 minutes or so, Matt Ramsey.
They've certainly had the possession in terms of getting into opposition boxes, just not really let their opponents play in the other half, other than the big exception of when Leighton hit the post. It has been certainly one team asking the questions.
Pulled down the line again, looking for the run of Rolt, who has to hold off a defender. The defender does well, actually, to hold him off. Head and shoulders above him in height-wise. Powell gets it back to his keeper. And Leighton come away with the ball, looking for the ball over the top. Welsh has to scamper off his line. Fails to pick it up with the first attempt, under a little bit of pressure, but does it the second. Nearly making a bit of a drama out of a crisis.
Absolutely go into added time at the end of the half, and that goal will give them real confidence that they can make it to the second qualifying round, which they haven't done since they made the fourth qualifying round 3 years ago, and that's only one round short of making the first round proper, which is really the holy grail for the non-league clubs.
Yes, a bit of a way away. There's this and 3 more games, isn't there, really?
Absolutely. Well, making the second qualifying round feels like big progress on the last couple of years. They went out in the preliminary stage last season to Biggleswade and lost to East Thurrock United in the first qualifying round 2 years ago.
Both sides have already played a couple of preliminary rounds. As Leighton with the ball down that far side across comes Parr, and he's done well actually to work it away. Scott Bridges he's caught in possession though, midway inside his own half, looking to win it back, and it's done really well actually to do so. And then the ball threaded through. That was Broccoli, who's looked lively again, looking to get it into the path of Rolt, but couldn't do so on this occasion. Cleared upfield. Bridges beaten in the air, but it will run towards Parr again, who can just take a touch and thump it away, looking for the runner down that left-hand side. And he's found him as well, picked him out well. That's Cotton. But that is the last action on a very satisfactory... not quite the last action, in fact. There's a flag up for offside. Hidden from me by that dugout again.
It was rather, absolutely. And just as well that everyone was distracted by it, because the cricket pitch on the other side, someone just hit a big 6. If it wasn't for the netting, it would have been on the football pitch.
There is the last action of the first half. A very satisfactory first half for Cambridge City, who weathered a slight squall to start the match without really being threatened. But Brad Rolt was caught offside about half a dozen times, and then beat the offside trap in the 18th minute. Scampered his way between a couple of defenders and finished calmly beyond the keeper. Rolt also hit the post on the half hour after good work by Bridges and Broccoli. Keeper beaten, but Rolt at the stretch could only strike the foot of the upright, and City escaped a few minutes later. Barrett thumping the post from distance, and Leighton unable to turn it in. But City got the goal they deserved to make it 2-0 just on the stroke of half-time. A marauding run from Battersby down the left-hand side. Crossed it unselfishly for Joe Hood to thump it in off the keeper. Half-time, it's Leighton Town 0, Cambridge City 2.
Our commentary game here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. Cambridge City at Leighton Town. Last we heard from Mark Johnson, he was putting some fresh batteries in. John, are you back with us?
I am. I was putting fresh batteries in the kit as well.
Yeah, I forgot you had to stick fresh batteries in yourself. Tough 45 minutes, that. It made me laugh during the commentary that you spent quite a lot of time discussing whether or not City were going to rue failing to get the second goal. That's become largely academic now. They've put themselves in a great position.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what they deserved. I mean, when they hit the post, really it looked almost easier to score for Rolt if he'd just been able to stretch that little bit more, or the pass had been just that little bit better. And he thought on the half hour, particularly when Leighton went up the other end and thumped a shot against the post and very nearly turned it in, then he thought definitely they'd rue that opportunity. But the fact they bided their time, having grown into the game and scored a very good second goal, really puts them in the position they ought to be at half-time. A lot of work still to do, clearly, because I suspect Leighton will have come out with a bit of a flea in their ear, having started well and easily gone off the boil. But I think Robbie Nightingale will be content with that first 45 minutes, having been reasonably content before getting the second one.
And Matt, bearing in mind it's been a mixed season to date, I know very early stages, but it's been a bit up and down for City so far in the league. Robbie's going to be really pleased that they've got this platform for the second half.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a bit of a statement performance in terms of the level that they're playing against, because in the league they've only won once in 5. So the FA Cup has been a welcome respite for them because they've already won 2 matches to get here. But today is the first match they played against a team at their level. They've beaten a couple of Eastern Counties level oppositions to get to this stage. So it was clearly going to be a much tougher assignment. And obviously, as we keep saying, long way to go. And the second half is about to get underway. But they're going well so far. So they have really stepped up to it today.
We're across all frequencies here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. Cambridge City at Leighton Town, FA Cup first qualifying round. We're also with Royston, Stamford as well. We're across the games involving St Ives and Mildenhall, and we're with Peterborough United at Portsmouth. Posh 2-1 down at the break. Loads to look forward to. Busy afternoon here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. Let's head back to Matt and Jono.
The sound of Cambridgeshire. BBC Radio Cambridgeshire Sports.
So here we go again, second half underway. City in aquamarine and navy from right to left, attacking immediately just on the edge of the area, trying to force an opening, but it's worked away by the Leighton defence. They're in all red with white stripes on the front of the shirts, or red and white stripes on the front of the shirts, depending on how you look at it. And they look to work the ball forward. Should be dealt with by the City defence. No changes personnel-wise at half-time. Welsh in goal, Struiski, Battersby, the full-backs, Black and Parr, the centre-backs for Cambridge City, Bridges and Sisonis behind Hood, Broccoli and Cotton, Rolt leading the line. We'll look at the Leighton side momentarily. In fact, we can look at it any moment. The ball's out for a throw to them. Comas in goal, back forward Joyce, Flanagan, Powell and Sage. Midfield, Barrett, Farrell, Pyman and Barrett, with Sale just behind Burnside. Referee is Daniel England, who's had a straightforward game to do so far. And City, with a little bit of defending to do in the early stages, will clear their lines. And it's picked up and sent down the right-hand side. Leighton looking to attack, thunderously away initially by Battersby, who became increasingly influential in the first half. City clearing the lines. Good ball forward. Rolt will chase. He'll chase anything. And he got between got between keeper and the ball and a defender, and in the end both keeper and Rolt go down. The linesman is flagging for a free kick to Cambridge City. The card is in the referee's hand, and the first booking will be Xavi Comas for that foul 10-15 yards outside the area, right from centre.
Well, I don't know what the goalkeeper thinks he's doing there. He's come out, he's about 10 yards outside his area. Looks like he should have been comfortably there to get the ball first, and maybe just waited for the ball to bounce down. Rolt clearly ended up getting to the ball first and then got clattered, even though the goalkeeper's come off worse. And if he does get up, or when he hopefully does get up, the first thing he's going to see is a yellow card from the referee, and he's going to be quite glad that he had a defender behind him, because otherwise it could have been a worse colour card.
Yeah, Harvey Heaps is a sub-keeper for Leighton. He's a youngster, but may or may not be needed. But free kick to City in a dangerous position. It's 15 yards or so outside the area. Yeah, Heaps is a 17-year-old keeper on the bench for Leighton, which puts him as a veteran compared to the sub-keeper on the bench for Cambridge City.
Certainly absolutely ancient in comparison. The under-16 stopper that City have got on the bench, who we saw signing registration before the match today, and Comas at least is up, although he's limping very, very slowly back into his own penalty box. In fact, gives up on the edge of the box, and remains to be seen whether he will be able to carry on.
Oh, he is limping back in the style of Long John Silver in search of his parrot, but I think he'll be okay. In fact, I'm sure he will now he knows it's just a yellow card. And the free kick, which City will take. Battersby will launch it into the box towards that far side, and it's smuggled behind for a corner. Two number 5s. It was Richard Black beaten away in the end by Ethan Flanagan for Leighton, and City will settle for the corner. That's a nice delivery.
Yeah, clearly came off the back of a Leighton player rather than a City man, but another set piece as well, and another goal here would probably kill this one off, I think.
Right-footed in swinging, delivered deep into the area and thumped into the roof of the net. Really emphatic finish. Arriving at the far post, it was Taylor Parr, the centre half. Didn't need to use his head, he used his right foot, and he nearly took the back of the net out. Thumped it home, 3-0, 5 minutes into the second half. You called it into existence, Matt.
I reckon it's going to take something pretty spectacular here for City not to be making their way through to the second qualifying round. They threatened with a set piece that won the corner, and Parr, he's not exactly an invisible presence because he's a very tall player up from the back, and they obviously had no idea he was there, watched it onto his foot, and it was absolutely unstoppable, right-footed. The goalkeeper, he's had his injury problems just now. He could have been the most agile in the world. He was never going to get anywhere near it.
City 3-0 up then. Perfect start to the second half. They've been in good form. They've played all their FA Cup matches on the road, including one they had to play twice. And they could nearly played it on the river against Hadley, and diving in, Sonis won the ball. Hood on that far side, beaten away. Sonis again, thunderous challenge, and away down that far side is Cotton. It's Broccoli rather. He's got Cotton in the middle, and he'll look to take on his man and can't beat him with the cross. Had two well placed in the centre there. If Stephen Broccoli could have picked either out, couldn't do so. And Leighton will look to counter attack, but as the ball played through, there was a clip on the ankles of Finn Barrett and Finn Brennan rather, and referee, having looked for advantage, found none, pulls it back for a free kick.
Yeah, sensible decision, and just a bit of respite for the home team, and Ben Farrell will try and launch something forward. They need to do something quickly if they're going to have any chance here.
As they launched it forward and nodded away by Sonis, and Leighton will look to clear and get it back, but that's easy meat for Welsh, who can collect it in his blackcurrant coloured kit.
Indeed, he had no chance for the effort that hit the post, Joe Welch, but if he can go similarly untested in terms of saves to make, it'll have turned into an extremely satisfactory afternoon for the Lily Whites.
As Leighton try and dribble the ball out of defence and make a mistake as they give the ball away. City winning a throw. Ethan Flanagan, I don't know what he thought he was trying to do, play it out from the back. He was very, very nearly badly embarrassed, and is City settled for the throw, level with the edge of the area, left-hand side. Throw goes in towards Broccoli. He squirms his way past 3. Little dink over the top. Comes back to him from Battersby, who forces a throw again down this left-hand side. He's been really influential in this game, Jack Battersby, for Cambridge City.
Certainly did. The second goal, marauding run, is about fair. He could have gone on his own, provided the pass ended up nonetheless in the back of the net for a City goal.
Throwing goes short and is cleared. And cleverly played off the Leighton centre forward, Jim Burnside, by Taylor Parr. And the throw down the line, nodded away by the Leighton defence from just outside their own area, but they've lost possession again, winning it back briefly. Another throw to Cambridge City, who are in complete control at the moment. And until Jake Battersby tried to take a throw from too far forward, and the referee having none of it.
Well, I think it may have even been slightly more outrageous than that. I think he was trying to take a throw in that was actually the opposition's in the first place, which,
but apart from that,
probably doesn't help. But they've won the ball back quickly enough.
And win the free kick as Ethan Flanagan holds his man off literally as the ball down the line quickly taken. There's a run for Hood and he's onside, level with the edge of the area, looking to get to the byline, holds off a couple of defenders, tries to pull it back, chance for the cross to come in deep, far post, a little deep, might be kept in at that far post by Strawiski. He's looking for a bit of help as he twists and turns, tries to deliver the cross. Got a defender with him, a little back flick to try and find Broccoli, which he's done so, edge of the area. Broccoli takes another touch to roll it across the edge of the box. Back it'll come to Hood. Hood with a shot over the bar. Keeper rooted to the spot, but the ball just a foot or two over the top. City lead by 3-0. Andy Abbott, Royston against Cheshunt.
6 minutes gone in this second half, and it's probably Royston that have just had the best chance of this second half, and probably their best chance of the game so far. For Florio Greenbow, a great cross in from the right hand side. Matt Bateman looked as though he was going to charge in and get on the end of it, deflected behind for a corner. Royston putting all the pressure on at the start of this second half, but it's still 0-0.
Thanks, Andy. And Leighton making a change. Big centre half, Ethan Flanagan coming off. Rico Martin, who's much more of an attacking option, comes on. So, in fact, he's playing more. Certainly Leighton going more attacking. They have to chase the game. There's a shot ripped in and a save from Welsh diving to his right-hand side. It was fired in from that right-hand side by Brennan. And comfortable save in the end, just about, but just about will do. City 3-0 up. Steve Jackson watching Harbour against Stamford.
Where Stamford have just gone 1-0 up, Mark. In the 48th minute, there was an open goal opportunity. A header back across the 6-yard box. Stranded keeper from Ricky Miller. The net should have bulged. It did not. Harry Wood, though, has just put that emphatically right with a header from a similar position, left-hand side of the box as the goalkeeper's looking at it, planted right in the back of the net, which means Harbour are going to have to come out. And this may yet get exciting. It's Harbour 0, Stamford 1.
Thanks, Stephen. And Leighton have changed shape. They've gone 4-3-3 pretty much, with Luke Pyman dropping into defence, and Rico Martin either side, with Louis Barrett either side of the main striker, Jim Burnside. I'd suggest they are missing their first choice couple of strikers.
They are. The 3 changes they made, 2 of them were the strikers that had started on Monday. I think they've actually gone 3 at the back because Joyce has gone further forward.
As here comes Broccoli on the edge of the area, looking to roll it back towards the edge of the area. Can't find Sonis, who's arriving at pace. Thumped away. The City looking rampant at the moment.
They do. They've already added 1 since half-time, and they do look capable every time they're going forwards. They had that chance that Welch had to stop just a few moments ago, but really that was the exception to the momentum of this half. And you talk about important times to score. 1-0 up on 44 minutes, right before and right after half-time, completely wrenching the game very much in their favour.
But City just squandering possession on the halfway line, all over the top. There's defending to be done. Richard Black does it. He gets there, prevents the corner. Nearly takes out the corner flag in the process, but Leighton with a throw, quickly taken. Rico Martin picks it up, corner of the box, looking to dance his way into the area. Cross cut out, and it will trundle away just the wrong side of the corner flag for Leighton. Goes out for the throw, which they take quickly. We'll come back towards that far side again. Martin's got support behind him, hooked into the area by Sage. Thundered away by the City defence. They can break here with Broccoli looking for the run of Rolt. He's got a run against the last defender. It's just outside the area. Support arriving right and left, looking to slip it in towards that far side, and it's thumped into the net. Really good counter-attacking finish. Joe Hood on the counter. City breaking from well inside their own half, springing it via Rolt. He bided his time, arriving at the far post. Joe Hood hit it from just inside the area. Keeper no chance. City 4-0 up 13 minutes into the second half.
Well, we came into this game looking at Leighton Town being the one with the momentum. City struggling for wins in their league campaign so far. They could barely have dreamed it could have gone this well. We've still got more than half an hour to go. It's almost a case of how many can they add. 4-0. It's a spectacular result.
Yeah, Hood's second of the match. A really, really good finish as well. It was born of the side already 3-0 up, looking for a fourth as a celebratory helicopter flies over. Probably not celebrating the score from the home point of view. Don't know if we've got a score elsewhere. It's 4-0 to Cambridge City here. We've got news from Peterborough. Nathan.
Yeah, Posh very much up against it. It's Portsmouth 2, Posh 1. Across from the right, Portsmouth's Morel glanced it towards goal and forced Cipriano to head onto his own crossbar. Portsmouth then recycled the ball. Sadie forced a fantastic full stretch fingertip save from Bilokovic. Home side looking good. They lead Posh 2-1.
Thanks, Nathan. As Leighton with, that was ambitious and born of frustration from Jim Burrows, who tried his luck from 40 yards probably.
If that goes in, it's Thierry Henry, but it's a little bit short of that.
It wasn't even Terry Henry.
It was more like Lenny Henry.
As City just... Neil Midgley wants a word with City substitution to be made. His Rolt will come off. Brad Rolt, who's run them ragged in this first half. And the first half, once he's settled the offside trap problem, he'll be replaced by Ryan Ingray. As Cambridge ring the changes. So Ingray on for Rolt on the hour mark. Nice position to be in for Robbie Nightingale and his men.
Yeah, it's not bad to be a striker coming on when you know you've got the game won, and Ryan Ingray will be looking to add to his one goal for the season, which at least did turn out to be a winner in a 3-2 against Gresley Rovers on the opening league game of the season. He's been at City for a couple of years. Ex-Royston man.
Ex-Cambridge United man who was on the books there a long while ago. As the ball teased forward by Leighton and overhit into the arms of Welsh, who can collect it and bowl it out. And City have got look as if they're a side with an appetite for more, as the ball over the top nodded away by Sage for Leighton for another throw for Cambridge City midway inside. Leighton territory in front of the cricket pitch, where the umpire is considering something. He's probably heard that there's been a goal at Portsmouth. Nathan Alban will confirm that.
Yes, John, I can barely hear you over the sound of the home fans. They've extended their lead. It's now Portsmouth 3, Posh 1. Kamara with a shot on the swivel from the left. It was going wide, but there was the defender Regan Poole to divert it into the back of the net. Cue Pompey chimes. It's Portsmouth 3, Posh 1.
There's the cross into the area, flapped at by the keeper, and the far post. There was a half chance really for Joe Hood to complete his hat-trick, couldn't quite turn it in, but just before that, while you were away, it was Patrick Strawiski with a cross from that right-hand side, caught on a slightly capricious zephyr of breeze, and the keeper was all over the shop, just about getting away with it.
He was certainly nearly caught out and certainly had to make the save, otherwise it would have been admittedly a freakish fifth, but it was heading into that top corner. You know it's going your way if something like that starts going in.
Yeah, that's true. Ingray pushed over, free kick on halfway. Bridges takes down the right hand side, and a thunderous, frustrated challenge leaves a City man down.
It's a pretty poor tackle, that, actually.
Struiski, I think, again. Yeah, it was. Referee comes across, has a word with the Leighton man. Only a word. It's very patient as Finley Brennan is spoken to, but no more.
Yeah, I think it maybe looked worse because it was Broccoli who landed. I think he landed on his wrist cast, which he's had plastered up all day.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Struiski deep cross into the area. Little nod down towards the far post, and it's thundered in. It's Ingri who turns it in from close range. Deep cross, far post. It was Black nodded it back, and Ingri, with his first touch, pretty much wraps the ball home. And if there was any doubt, there isn't now. 63 minutes gone. It's Leighton 0, Cambridge City 5.
Said it was a good time for him to come on when your team's already 4-0 up. All you can do is make things better. And the deep ball, what on earth Richard Black was doing up? It was after a foul, but he'd stayed up from the set piece. He was found beyond the back post, nodded it back, took everyone out of play. Ingri could not miss, didn't miss. We stood only in the 63rd minute, and they've got 5. Leighton Town only lost for the first time this season on Monday, lost 2-1, and they've obviously had the momentum. They look like they have no idea what's hit them today.
City are in absolute raptures of form at the moment. They haven't banked the £2,250 prize money. They near enough have, as they are about to ring further changes with Mikey Davis and Stan Leach to come on.
Well, we talked about Ingri coming on with goals. The two players both coming into the team have had them as well so far this season. Leach has done it several times.
First player to come off is
it's Cotton and
Dan
Broccoli.
Cotton. Yeah, Cotton and Broccoli. So yeah,
their work has more than been done so far.
64th minute. The second and third changes are made. So that is a really nice time to make to be able to make changes. Davis will come over on this right hand side. Leighton looking to attack down the left just for the moment, and a bit of a dive in the end by it was Solis who goes into the book, and rightly so.
You said earlier the one area of the pitch that we can't see because there's one of the dugouts in the way.
There's a commentating law that suggests that 99% of action happens in the 1% of pitch that you can't actually see.
Well, that's the first big bit of action, then we certainly couldn't see it, other than I did see the linesman waving his flag, which quite vociferously as well suggests it probably was going to be a heavy challenge. And when you're 5-0 up, you probably don't need to make those challenges too much. But into the book, the first City man to be yellow carded today.
So Leach has stayed up front. Everyone else in defence as the ball into the area goes a long way and curls in. It went all the way in from the lad taking the free kick. Might have been a slight flick on it. It was Brennan with a free kick. There may have been a touch on it, but Leighton have a goal. It's Leighton 1, Cambridge City 5.
Yeah, I think that's been flicked in by Sale, I think, who's got it. Little touch. It was a really good ball in, but just a little touch is all it needed. And I mean, they've not really offered much. They hit the post and that's it. So the clean sheet goes out the way, but obviously City have already got plenty of goals to their name so far, and we're seeing a bit of a goal rush in the FA Cup today.
Yeah, Welsh will be disappointed, I think, or annoyed, really, to concede. He should be, anyway. There's a dive in by Struiski. Fouls his man. Rico Martin had shucked away from him. And Struiski goes into the book.
Yeah, 2 in the space of a minute. The first one led to a goal from the free kick, so they'll be hoping that we don't get anything similar to that on this one. Free kick from the other side, and players into the yellow card in very quick succession for City.
Yeah, again, no doubt about it. And again, the referee's had a good game, got it spot on. So City 5-1 up as the free kick delivered into the area again, and it came off recovering Struiski and into the hands of Welsh. So City 5-1 up and coasting. Andy Abbott, Royston against Cheshunt.
Yeah, well, we're still 0-0, but Royston have much the better of it. They did change things round at half-time. They took off Tommy Williams and they brought on Samson Easton. And Samson Easton having a real effect down the right-hand side. He's creating time and space. But having said that, the delivery into the penalty box is woeful at the moment. Royston, with all the pressure, they've just won a free kick on this right-hand side. They just wanted a bit of better delivery, but it's still 0-0.
Thanks, Abs. City still lead 5-1. There's a ball back to the Leighton keeper, who'll clear left-footed over halfway line. Gets a flick on, but will run easily through and launch down the fire, push in the back of Ingrid just outside the area. That was unnecessary as well. That was born of frustration as well by Luke Pyman, who's gone down with a bit of cramp now and will need a bit of treatment. Possibly to massage his ego, I think, at that stage.
All going on. It's a silly one. There are a couple of frustrated tackles, actually, because Burnside, the forward at the other end, he's apologising now on the centre circle. He barged Taylor Parr over pretty roughly.
Well, Parr's smiling about it.
I think he's okay in the long run, but the ball got played up the pitch, and actually Bridges, he wasn't in on goal because it was wide left, but he was certainly in behind the defence. It was just a clumsy or cynical barge, really, by Pyman, and the referee has no choice but to produce his third yellow card in the space of about 5 minutes.
Yeah, Pyman in the book, midway point of the second half. I'm Mark Johnson. Matt Ramsey alongside me. It's Leighton Town 1, Cambridge City 5. As the referee prowls the edge of the penalty area, card in hand, ready to show it as soon as Pyman's finished receiving his treatment. That'll be a little sting in the tail for him there. Two-man wall has been built. Pyman is shown the card on his way off the field, having received treatment, and a free kick Bridges will take. We'll hear from Steve Jackson at Harbour against Stamford momentarily, which we'll watch Scott Bridges with this free kick. It's 5 yards outside the box as he chips it in deep towards the far post. City with plenty forward, and it came off a City head last. So 5-1 to the Lily Whites in Aquamarine, and they've actually got a corner. Referee's just overruled the linesman, and again, I thought he got it absolutely spot on.
Well, certainly Leach, the substitute, was certainly keen on it being given. Hard to know who had the better view, but it was initially, as you say, flagged as a corner. City will be looking to add another one.
Yeah, Mikey Davis to take, left-footed in swinging. Leach makes his run. Ingrid in front of the keeper. Moves towards the near post, just beaten away from Leach. Bridges hooks it back and up and under towards the edge of the box. Worked on into the area, and a little thunderous shot, and referee says goal kick. As it was Black up from the back once more. Thought he might have been caught. Wasn't. Went for goal and only just wide. 5-1 City. Harbour against Stamford. Steve Jackson.
Where it is still 1-0 to the visitors. That header from Harry Wood around about 50 minutes into the game that gave Stamford the lead in their 100th FA Cup tie. Good enough at the moment to keep the two sides apart. There's been a bit of a storm back from Harbour. They slashed one across an open net across the 6-yard box, and another decent save from David Wallace in the Stamford goal. It's edgy enough for Graham Drury, the Stamford boss, to have just been yellow carded for speaking out of turn. Harbour 0, Stamford 1.
Thanks, Stephen. Josh Hatton comes on for Leighton Town. He replaces Luke Pyman. It's more of a defensive change, really. Centre half coming on just to try and shore things up for Leighton, who are well beaten with 20 minutes to go. City coasting with that 5-1 advantage as Rico Martin makes a bit of progress for Leighton on that left hand side. A throw whipped in towards the lively Barrett, plays it in towards the edge of the area where Burnside is offside, and that linesman has been busy flagging for much of the match one way or another. Someone's been offside for either side.
So he's probably been about as busy as the referee until the flurry of yellow cards after half time. Certainly it feels like a long time ago that Brad Rolt was struggling to stay onside before putting it right on 18 minutes with a goal that made it 1-0, and a lot has happened since.
Burnside's coming off, I think, and Chris Manangu will come on in his stead. Burnside has worked hard. This hasn't quite happened for him today. 72nd minute. It's, Leighton still, it's 3-4-3 formation almost, really. I mean, I don't know what else they can do at 5-1 down, chasing a way back into a cup competition. I think Operation Forlorn Hope would be.
It is rather. They've only made it to the third qualifying round 3 times in their history, and still a few wins away from that. And only made the 4th qualifying round once, and they were ended.
Here comes Hood for Histon, bursts his way into the area, tries to pull it back and doesn't. Sonis makes it 6, rolled it in comfortably. Beautiful finish. Absolutely ripped Leighton to shreds down that right hand side. Hood, who scored 2, makes another one, rolls it a path of Bruce Sonis, who just calmly passed it into the bottom corner. It's 6-1 and we've still got 18 minutes to go.
Well, absolutely. They've really strolled through that. Really good play. I think Hood with 2 goals, adding assists as well. He's got to really be leading in the man of the match contention. Just had his head up, pulled it back, and a good late run as well out of midfield. Calmly finished, just past it, low into the corner. And you look at poor Xavi Comas, he's led in 6. I'm not sure you can look at him individually and say he's culpable for much, but he's been left exposed by what's in front of him.
And of course, with Leighton chasing the game, there are bound to be gaps at the back. There are bound to be. They've got no option. It's not as if goal difference is going to matter to them, let's be honest.
No, exactly. George Joyce has been wearing number 2 all afternoon. Started at right back. He's playing right in front of us, more in midfield now, and it is a fairly flat midfield 4, and 2 of the subs that have come on playing up front, so 3-4-3, but it's not going to make a big difference to certainly no difference now to who's going to make it through to the second qualifying round of the FA Cup, because City have really run riot.
As Welsh takes his time, then picks the ball up ahead of Chris Manangu and look to launch it away, right-footed, high and deep, looking for Ingray, who flicks it on, but Leighton have done well. They'll work the ball away, but they've given it away in the middle of the park. It's picked up once more by City with Bridges, who makes things tick, getting it wide in towards the edge of the box, but heavy touch in fact from Ingray, getting it back to Bridges just inside Leighton territory, playing a nice 1-2, then rolling it forward. City looking like a training session almost at the moment, until Hood takes a bit too much time, gives it away. Enrico Martin tries to stretch his way away from Parr, who just about did enough, and then clears up to Ingray, who brings it down and bides his time, then plays the ball down the right hand side. There's a big forlorn chase, I think, down that far side for Stanley Leach, and that'll run away for the goal kick. Quarter of an hour to go. It's Leighton Town 1, Cambridge City 6 here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire.
They've certainly got their act together in front of goal. The first 2 matches of the season, they scored 3 in each of them. Since then, League and Cup, they've scored 7 times in 5 matches, and they've scored 6 today, and 5 of those, if you take half time out, they've scored 5 in 32 minutes.
Well, the way they're going, we could almost do with that scoreboard on the cricket pitch that's just masked from my view. I don't know if it is keeping score with this one. They seem to have disappeared off.
Well, let's just say that Cambridge City have scored more goals than the away team have taken wickets. 121 for 5 in the match that's going on behind us.
Ball back to the Leighton keeper. They look to try and play it out and almost give it away on the edge of the area, and a bit of a panicked swipe of it from Powell to get it towards the halfway line. Leighton battling gamely as Rico Martin forces it on, looking for Manangu, who can't get there. City tightening up, but it's just given away on the right hand side by Struitsky. It's latched onto Brennan looking to try and deliver a cross from that left hand side. Into the box it goes, thundered away by the City defence, but they haven't got it too far away, and it'll be picked up by Powell for Leighton, wide towards the right hand side. Dancing infield is Joyce goes towards the left hand side where he'll find Rico Martin a bit of space. He'll chip it in the box, looking for Manangu, and finding Welsh, who climbed really well to grab hold of it. City man goes down in a heap afterwards. I think combination of Leighton striker and City keeper has left Richard Black, I think it is, in a heap.
I don't know how delicate we want to be, but I think he may have taken a smack where you don't want it, because the
He was
referee,
caught amidships.
the referee and his goalkeeper are not showing much sympathy for him, which suggests that medical treatment is not forthcoming.
There's a City physio poised, chewing on her glove nervously, just in case, but decides that she's not going to be called into action. And
He's getting up, Richard Black. Should we say gingerly?
I think we should. He's rubbing his solar plexus at the moment, but I suspect he was caught a little lower than that.
Well, light relief for everyone as the game goes on.
But not necessarily for Richard Black. It's Welsh with the free kick, launching it away over the halfway line, where it's nodded down and it's picked up by Hood just outside the area. A little dancing feet to get his way into the box. Tries to set up Sonis and can't quite do so. But a man on the overlap who peels away, cross into the area. It's too far for Leach. But it was charged down and blocked off well by Mikey Davis to prevent Leighton going upfield with it. The ball's out for the goal kick. And with 13 minutes remaining, Leighton Town 1, Cambridge City 6 here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire.
Well, it's been a while since we had a goal, isn't it? We've now got a whole 12 minutes. What's it been, 5 minutes since we had a goal?
Yeah, I think so. There were 10 minutes between the last two and 10 minutes between the two between that. So it's a real drought, isn't it? All over the top, looking for the run of Leach. Won't get there.
We talked about it in that first half, just about margins that change games.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that they have scored, the home side rattled the post through Luke Pyman on 31 minutes, which would have brought it back to 1-1. And even with how this game's gone, you never really know how it could have been different if it had been all square.
No.
And
makes it very different indeed, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And then before half-time, City scoring in the penultimate minute of that half put them in control, and they've never come close to relinquishing it since.
City concede the throw in Leighton territory. It's all pretty comfortable stuff at the moment. There's been a goal at Royston though. Andy Abbott can tell us about it.
Yeah, it's gone to the home side. At last, the deadlock to block. Royston won a couple of corners, half clear to Josh Caldicott-Stevens. He crossed to the back stick. There was Kane Keller to knock back across the goal, and there was that man, the informed man, Sadium Greenbow, to took the ball in for his fourth goal in as many games. So with a quarter of an hour left, or just under a quarter of an hour left, it's Royston 1, Cheshunt 0.
Thanks, Abs. 10 minutes to go. City lead by 6-1 as Rico Martin for Leighton just missed controls on the edge of the area. Welsh able to come and gather it up. We'll have an update, I think. Let's hear from Steve Jackson as well. He's at Harbour against Stanford.
Where the home side have just literally poked the ball into the back of the net from the penalty spot for the equaliser. One of those you've seen them given. You've seen them, great appeals from the Harbour side. Not terribly many not terribly many nays from the Stanford side. Ball on the 12 spot on 12 yards, bang, 1-1. 15 minutes to go. Is going to be very, very interesting.
Thanks, Stephen. As Leighton in possession, just over the halfway line. Taking a touch, it's Farrell, who's disappeared from the match for long periods. I think he's not enjoyed himself as the ball goes long and into the hands of, or onto the foot of Welsh, who can pick it up.
He just maybe bypassing a few too many players in the middle for the home team, and getting a foot on the ball, but not really setting anything moving. It took a set piece for them to score their goal.
As the ball headed on from Leach to Ingray, who was offside. Flag goes up, free kick to Leighton. They take quickly, and Bridges nearly snaffled it for City, but Leighton still in possession, playing it upfield, but it's pinged in at the foot of Rico Martin, who could do nothing with that. And City able to get it all the way back to the keeper. It's one of the footballs that left the ground earlier. Appears back over the trees yonder to my right. So I think the ball boys got a bit bored and they're playing football amongst themselves down that far side. But here come Leighton on the right hand side, looking to spring it wide. And they've found a man level with the edge of the area, and he'll look to dance in field. It's Barrett. Ball comes back towards Joyce. Joyce delivers across. Keeper calls and keeper claims. A very loud bellow from Joe Welsh. I'm sure his defenders heard clearly, because we plainly did, Matt Ramsey.
Well, I've got earphones in. I can hear you in one ear, the studio in the other ear, and I can still hear Joe Welch between the two of you there, so he certainly made sure it was his.
Ingrie wins his header midway inside Leighton territory. It's smuggled away for a throw to City on this left-hand side. City in aquamarine and navy attack from right to left, as they've done for most of the second half. Leading by 2-0 at the break. They've poured it on after the interval. Now lead by 6-1. As Sonis picks up a loose ball, it goes wide towards the left-hand side, looking to try and deliver a cross. He's Battersby, and he's got past his man, and he whips it into the area, and it's thundered away for a throw to City, who lead by the 6-1. Nathan Alban watching Peterborough at Fratton Park.
Yeah, 10 to go here. Portsmouth 3, Posh 1, and it could have been worse. Bilokovic doing well to claw away an outside of the boot cross from Swanson. That was heading for the far corner. Chelsea loanee Zach Sturge is on for his Posh debut, along with Knight and Ajiboye, who scored here in the Cup on Tuesday night. Portsmouth, though, in control. It's still 3-1.
And it could have been 7 for City, as the ball took a deflection and found its way calmly towards Mikey Davis, who had a shot on goal straight at the keeper. Leighton will clear up the other end, and Welsh punches it away. The flag was up. Referee pulls it back. City might have broken and poured the misery on, but I think Daniel England, who's had a very good game, spares them the thought of that and decides that'll be a free kick to Cambridge City, just inside their own penalty area. Well, they've run round.
They absolutely have. I mean, I think we were talking. This is supposed to be a really tough game. Leighton Town promoted to a parallel league to Cambridge City. They don't play in the same division, but they play in a parallel division. Leighton have started well, only 1 defeat. Cambridge City have not started great, only 1 win in their 5. I think it's fair to say a win would have upset the form book, and certainly 6-1. No one saw that coming.
Here comes a shot from the edge of the box after the ball was presented to Stan Leach, who had a shot, hit it first time, might have taken his time, but it was an easy save in the end. It shows the timing of goals, how important that is, because goals on 40 and 50, or 44 and 50 from Cambridge City took it from 1-0 potentially at the break to 3-0 5 minutes after it.
Absolutely. As soon as that third goal in, Taylor Pass smashing in from a corner, it was all over, and it just kept on getting better. And even at the point where Leighton get a goal back, which is fairly out of nothing to make it 5-1, City go at the other end and go back to 5 ahead.
Yeah, I mean, from a Leighton point of view, they had to chase the game, particularly once it went to 2-0.
Well, it was.
Did they chase it a bit earlier?
Well,
I wonder.
Maybe they. I don't think it was even because they were chasing. They just kept getting caught out the same way.
Yeah.
And if you look at the goals in the first half, it was just being played through rather easily, and City were good enough to make the most of those chances.
Brennan on the left-hand side, looking to work it on to Rico Martin, who turns into a challenge and wins a free kick, 10 yards outside the area, left of centre, perhaps halfway between the D of the box and the left edge of the penalty area. 5 minutes to go, plus a bit of stoppage time. We've had a posse of substitutions from either side.
Well, if they're doing it like the Football League does it nowadays, there'll be 3 subs each, but they'll add a lot of time just because there's been 5 goals in the second half. That'll add on a bit. It took some celebrating.
I hope they don't, Matt. I've got another game to do on Monday. There'll be a free kick to Leighton, which they tap short and thunders into the trees as it was presented for Ben Farrell to have a go from distance, and he did, and it ended up some distance away. City lead by 6-1.
Ended up about as far from the goal as it started, actually, which is a shame for Ben Farrell, former Cambridge City man, one of 2 ex-City men in the squad, but Seb Simpson is injured, having missed their game against Dunstable. Just wonder, Robbie Nightingale will have had some scouting on his team today, because they played Dunstable, like I said. Leighton played Dunstable on Monday, and Tom Finch, the young Cambridge United goalkeeper, and Robbie Nightingale is the head groundsman at Clare College, where United train, so I wonder if he'd have had a word to get some intel, and wherever he's done his scouting, it's paid huge dividends for Cambridge City today.
Ingrie holds it up, and the ball's teased wide, looking for the run down that far side of Davis. Davis ball into the box, scooped away by the Leighton defence, picked up by Battersby, who looked to go the long way round and does, and gets to the byline, pulls it back. Another corner to Cambridge City, who, far from settling for 6, are looking to fill their boots.
Yeah, he's not not needed to be as much of an attacking presence, Battersby, but lovely bit of skill, poked it around the defender and ran the other way around the defender to collect the ball and then drill it off a defender. And
I don't think anyone's told him goal difference doesn't matter in the FA Cup.
Maybe not. Unless I think there's a second leg next week.
Corner. Bridges will take, looking towards that far post. Keeper comes and gets the free kick for a little nudge into his belly from one of several aquamarine-clad Cambridge City attackers in the penalty area.
I think City, you would bet on a 0-0 next weekend. Cambridge City, they're back in cup action and they're playing away against a team in Leighton Town's league. They play Kings Langley, and City are 6-1 up here in Kings Langley last Saturday. They won their game in the league 6-5, so we wouldn't bet against goals in that one. First round of the FA Trophy next weekend.
As City in possession, Struiski will look to play it forward, launching it forward, looking for the flick on from Ingri. It's nodded away by the Leighton defence, picked up in midfield, looking to turn. Farrell works it on, but Bridges has nicked it away, and here comes Hood for City, 10 yards outside the area. Mazy meandering run, looking to roll it into the path of a colleague, couldn't do so, gives it away. Bridges wins it back, runs into traffic and loses possession, and away come Leighton, but they've overrun it as well. Taylor Parr will pick it up and find Black alongside him. Struiski wide towards Hood, who's scored 2 and made at least 2 of them.
Certainly had an excellent afternoon as Hood. He hadn't been on the score sheet yet this season. It had otherwise fallen to Cotton and Broccoli, who had got 3 and 4 each.
Long ball forward, picked up by Leach, looking to turn. He's got support from Bridges on the right hand side, just shimmies away from a challenge. Back to Struiski. City going back towards halfway line. Struiski runs into Martin and loses the ball, then fouls his man. The referee says that'll do. We'll have a free kick here, minute and a half to go, plus a bit of stoppage time. It's Leighton Town 1, Cambridge City 6 here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire.
And they'll have their eye on the draw for the next round, the second qualifying round, which is when teams in the National League North and South join. The second and third rounds they've got to get through, and then the more professional National League Premier sides joining the fourth qualifying round. But we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit. But on the form they've showed today, they'll probably be up for the challenge, up for a cup run, which Robbie Nightingale knows all about as both player and coach at Cambridge City.
As Ingrid tries to find Leach, can't do so, but Bridges picks up the scraps as he has done for much of the afternoon on halfway, looking to thread it through, can't do so. It'll come back again, but Tassonis to go wide towards this near side. City were running in field and they've just been run off the ball and just clipped as well with Battersby. United and City will have the free kick in the centre circle. The next round of the competition in 2 weeks' time. Not that this is a factor here, but it might be a factor in some of our other games. Replays will be in this midweek, as Louis Barrett gets a final warning. And Battersby has been battered. Physio runs on. Battersby needs treatment. And finally the card comes out. Referee had a long talk with Barrett and then finally produced the card, which was the right decision again, but it's done fairly amicably as we enter stoppage time.
I'm not sure the City man's feeling too amicable about the situation. I think that's the first time that certainly for City that a physio's come on all afternoon, so really just delaying the end of the match because we are past the 90-minute mark now.
There'll be literally some time added on.
Absolutely. Well, Battersby looked like he was in some distress, and he may just stay off once he hobbles off. They have made 3 changes, but it's not going to make a change to the result. But he doesn't look very happy with life.
He's just checking his left ankle. He's hobbling a little bit, but he will stay on. And City will have the free kick on the halfway line. So Parr launches it forward towards that far side. Good climb at the far post. And the referee says no, I'll add no more time on than that. Adds a minute, and City comfortably through to the next round of the FA Cup. The key moments coming either side of half-time. Rolto put City ahead on 18 minutes, having been caught offside numerous times before that. Finally beat the offside trap and scored a really good goal to give City the lead. Both sides hit the post then before Joe Hood scored the first of his 2 goals on the stroke of half-time. Taylor Parr up from the back, thundered home at a corner on 50 minutes. Then Hood scored his second on 58. Ingri on off the bench first touch to make it 5-0 on 63. Sale pulled a goal back for Leighton Town 3 minutes later, but the impressive Bruce Tsanonis made it 6-1 on 73 minutes. The only surprise, that completed the scoring on a very comfortable afternoon for Robbie Nightingale's men as Cambridge City eased their way into the second round qualifying of the FA Cup. Ended here at Bell Close. Leighton Town 1, Cambridge City 6.
Jono, I don't think we expected that sort of game at all. We were planning for nip and tuck, closely contested. Was City 6-1 good? Were they that good?
Yeah, they were. Once they'd made it 2 on the on the stroke of half time rather, and then that third goal really killed it. 5 minutes after the second half, the start of the second half, Leighton Town wilted, and City seemed to not realise that goal difference doesn't matter in the FA Cup. They poured it on, they scored 6 and could really have had 7 or 8. They were very impressive against a Leighton side that were obviously going to leave gaps at the back, because at 3-0 down they had to start chasing the game. They did. Maybe they chased it a little earlier than that, and that was their undoing. But they seemed to forget how to defend as they went for it, as you have to in this stage of the competition. They know goal difference doesn't matter. They had to go for it and got picked apart by a ruthless Cambridge City side who should have been even more ruthless. It was a convincing 6-1 scoreline. You sometimes get these and you think, well, how did they win by that many? It's probably, how did they only win by that many today? This didn't look like a competition between two sides at the same level of non-league football today.
As you say, second goal, massive, just perfect timing, as it had been a first half that was closely contested, and we were beginning to wonder, had City wasted important chances? Getting that goal just ahead of the half-time break just settled everything down.
Absolutely right from that point, and it was a good goal as well from Hood after some really impressive play by Drake Battersby down the left flank. He was nominally left back, but he was a left winger, left wing back, and everywhere. He had a really good game. Several had really good games actually for Cambridge City, as you'd expect with this scoreline. But Joe Hood, who did impress throughout, scored that crucial goal and made it and scored another one in the second half as well. But yeah, this was an impressive performance from Cambridge City. They caught Leighton on a bad day, I would imagine, but this is the kind of thing that will happen when teams realise that they have to go and chase the game. If they don't find a way back immediately, they're going to get caught out, and this is what happened to Leighton. So I do have some sympathy for them today, but City didn't. They were absolutely ruthless.
As you say, it's the nature of the FA Cup. You have to go for it if you're behind in a match. Cambridge City making the most of that this afternoon. A 6-1 win at Leighton Town. Let's head back over then to Leighton Buzzards, to Cambridge City with a 6-1 win. And Mark Johnson, I suppose the major question off the back of this, given the in and out start to the season that City have endured, whether today can kickstart them a little bit.
Well, they'll certainly be hoping so, and they're in fine voice in the dressing room. You may be able to hear in the distance at the moment. But, it's a tricky one, because the nature of the non-league is that there are so many parallel divisions. You don't know how good each division is, or the teams within each division is. Leighton has started well, but were taken apart today partly because they were missing their main two strikers, partly because of extenuating circumstances as they chased the game, but partly because City was simply too good for them on the day. Now, whether that's a sign of things to come from a City point of view, they've certainly got plenty out of this game in the way of goals, in the way of confidence, and that would hopefully be enough to kickstart their campaign. You can never tell, obviously, but the signs are encouraging, and the signs were there that they wanted to use it to kickstart their campaign, from the fact that although they were ringing the changes on about the hour mark, they were ringing the changes by bringing on strikers looking to get amongst the goals. So they were still trying to get more and more confidence from this result to take into the league game. They weren't saying, OK, we're through, let's coast now. There was never an element of that, and I think that was particularly impressive and particularly noticeable today.
The goals, scoring a number of goals, is massive given how things went over the bank holiday weekend in the league, where 2 matches beaten 1-0 in each. Talk about a confidence builder. Ideal, and also the goals being spread around today as well.
Absolutely, but also for the fact that they wanted more, and they wanted more. They got the 6 and that wasn't enough. They wanted 7 and 8 and they might have had them. So that's interesting and encouraging as well, because they've got to the point in the game where the game was won, but they then used it as the next step. Can we then use that to pick some confidence to take into, well, it's the FA Vase coming up, and then they got back to the league. So yeah, they've got plenty to work with, and they were using it to the best of their abilities in an in-game competition. So I think there's plenty to like about today's performance. But it's a great unknown, isn't it? For the footballers at any level, the difference, the higher up you go, the more consistent they are. So let's see if they can, if City can use this to build a bit of consistency. It's certainly a good sign.
Yeah, that's a really good point, in that we perhaps, when we think of top level players, we think of their individual skills. We think of what they can do with the ball, or defenders being ruthless, heading the ball powerfully, whatever it might be. But actually, one of the major factors that differentiates a top level player from a non-league player isn't so much the individual skills and the ability, in the sense that non-league players can do a lot of exciting stuff. It's being able to produce it week in, week out, game in, game out, minute by minute.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's the key, isn't it? Because if you can't do that, you're not going to be playing at a particularly high level. So that's where you're going to have your issues. Consistency is the key, and now you've done it once. Can you do it week in, week out? That is absolutely the key.
It's always funny with the FA Cup. It's a competition that has many faces and many phases, in that what we've got this afternoon is a world away from the day of the final at Wembley in May. It's a world away from the third round. It's a world away from the first round. But there's an argument to say these early stages of the competition, there probably is a conversation to be had around how seriously the biggest clubs take the competition and how important it is to them. In fact, there's definitely a conversation to be had. We can see it's not the competition it was. But at this level, you mentioned it in the commentary, getting through to the first round for a club like Cambridge City, getting through to round 1, the first round proper, would be magical, wouldn't it? Massive.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care what the Premier League clubs think of the FA Cup. That's their business. For League 1, League 2 teams getting into round 3 and getting a big tie, that's their thing. For non-league sides, getting into round 1 and drawing a league side, preferably at home, or if not, one of the big league sides away from home, so getting a real money spinner. It's about a bit of cup glory, but it's also about prize money and gate money and national attention at this level. And City are just another step away from that. They're still 3 games away from getting into the hat for the first round, but you can only take one game at a time, as the old adage goes, can't you? But for clubs like Cambridge City and to other clubs in our region as well, the FA Cup is still a big thing. It's a real competition. It's not something that gets in the way of your world pre-season friendlies or something like that. This is a competition that matters.
Oh, do you know what? Don't get me started on when big clubs talk about fixture congestion and then for financial reasons, and they'll tell us it's to spread the game and to spread the word and all the rest of it, but it's really just about money. You toddle off to Southeast Asia to play some pre-season friendlies. It gets around to January and you're complaining that there have been too many matches. Just doesn't make any sense at all. We'll have further Cambridge City reaction reaction coming your way in just a bit. We're going to hear from the gaffer, Robbie Nightingale. It's BBC Radio Cambridgeshire on a Saturday afternoon, just gone 10 minutes past 5. Let's check in on Cambridgeshire's roads. Let's bring you some further Cambridge City reaction now. City 6-1 winners at Leighton Town. A very comfortable afternoon. Manager Robbie Nightingale has been speaking with Matt Ramsey.
Well, Robbie, against a team in a league parallel to yourselves, on paper, that would have looked like a tough draw away from home. Could you have imagined it going that well for you today?
Look, it's still a tough draw, a tough place to come and play. They've started the season pretty well. We've got some good players. I know they had one or two missing today. Some big players for them missing, but we had one or two missing as well. So, it's played here before when I was with Royston, and I played here before with Cambridge City, and I know how difficult it can be. We knew coming here against a team that have been promoted and used to winning games, and we knew it'd be a tough occasion. Now, first 20 minutes of any game, whether it be cup tie, league game, you have to earn that right. And I thought the way we went about our business, I thought we played in the right areas. We know that Leighton try and get a high line, so it was important that we had good runners, good pacing behind, and I thought probably could have gone in with an extra goal. We should have scored the open goal at halfway through, but look, the result is emphatic. I think we deserve to win by that margin. Probably, maybe some would say maybe one or two more. With how dominant we were. So very pleased with 1, we're through, 2, the performance, and then 3, we've had 1 or 2 lads that have been on the sidelines that were given opportunities today. Bradley Rolt one, Bruce the other, and I thought they came in and did extremely well.
And is it the fact that maybe they're having a chance, having not had so many? As we're going to say, kind of what went so right? People really grabbing their chance as well as just sussing them out.
Yeah, I think that we're a pretty young group. We played Spalding, who on Monday that they've literally got an unlimited budget, and I thought second half especially we dominated literally 95% of that game against a team that played 4 or played 5 in the league, won 5, and that was a good test for us coming into this because of how good Spalding are. We knew that we had to be at those levels to get anything today, and I think the lads coming in, 1 or 2 we've had to work hard with in terms of their fitness, but like today, Bradley Rolt for sort of 60 minutes was a live wire. We sat after and we just had a bit of a chuckle. We have never had so many offsides since I've been here, and that's down to his pace, and that's down to his eagerness to get in behind. So there's loads more to come from Brad, like Steph Broccoli and 1 or 2 others. But like I say, it's a pleasing day. We're in the next round, and hopefully we get a home tie this time.
And you mentioned Brad Rolt there, spent a lot of the first 15 minutes not being able to beat the offside trap, but as soon as he got it right on that front, he really made it count with a very well taken first goal that set you on your way. Yeah,
it did, and he should have done better with the anticipation for the one that he hit on the post. It was begging there for an open goal, and he just took a step back rather than forward. But so pleased for him because he's come in, he hasn't done an awful lot pre-season. Scored a lot of goals last year for Spalding, 15 I think in not many games. So we knew that if we can get him up to speed and we can get him a little bit fitter and sharper, we know what we've got in there. And he's almost, because he's played Peterborough first or around the 21s, he's that type of player that looks to spin in. Now if your fullbacks are taking that touch, that's his yard in. So we'll be working on that as we move forward, but really pleased with his movement. I'd rather him be offside than making those runs rather than not making the runs and being easy for them to get out. So really pleased, and like I say, we're just looking forward to the next round now.
And it may not have made a difference to the overall outcome when City were clearly in the ascendancy so much, but you talk about key moments of games, just what a difference does it make? The one real chance that Leighton have in the first half smacks back off the post, and then the second goal straight before half time, a third goal straight after half time. You talk about big times to score.
Yeah, look, and we thought. We knew Leighton would have possession, and we knew that they'd create some chances. Didn't realise they'd create so few in that first half. But teams at step 4, they're always going to create opportunities. So Leighton are no different, and it was from our poor judgment. Middle of the park, Jake Battersby tries to nick it, and he's not in a position to nick it, and the lad, fair play to him, rolls him and gets a good shot off. So yeah, there are fine margins. The way our luck goes, it tends to hit the bar and goes in, and thankfully we scored a good second, and then I say coming out the second half, scoring so soon after coming out really sort of sealed it for us and allowed us to really sort of enjoy having the ball.
And you've said you're hoping for a home game next. Obviously 3 wins still needed for the holy grail of the first round. It's been 12 years since Cambridge City got there, but you've experienced it in your time at the club. A day like today must really add some excitement around the club for what the FA Cup could mean for the club.
Yeah, absolutely. 12 years, it was MK Don, and I was lucky enough to be a part of that. So it's, we've had three games now on the road. Would be nice to get a home tie, but at the end of the day it's the FA Cup and we have to go where we have to go, and we'll relish going wherever it is, and if we play like we did today and play like we have done, hopefully we'll give anyone at step 3 or 4 or whoever's left in it a good game.
That draw for the second qualifying round of the FA Cup taking place Monday lunchtime. Of course, we'll bring you all of the details right here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire. Just to remind you, City 6-1 winners at Leighton Town, Royston beating Cheshunt 1-0, Stamford 3-1 defeat at Harborough Town, St Ives are out 2-1 defeat at Leiston, and Mildenhall losing 3-0 at the hands of Sudbury. Plenty more FA Cup reaction coming your way. And, of course, we'll hear from Peterborough United boss Darren Ferguson all ahead of 6 o'clock. But let's head back over to Leighton Buzzard and talk about the transfer window, Jono, from Cambridge United's perspective. The U's adding a final player yesterday morning in the form of John Kimani-Gordon on loan from Crystal Palace. How would you rate the summer for the U's, in that it's been a period of big change? A lot of players who'd been very reliable, consistent performers under Mark Bonner moving on, so there was work to do. How do you see it overall?
That's a good question, actually, because at this point, with the window just shut, it's very difficult to judge until the players bed in and you see how squad rotation works and you see how light or otherwise they are in various areas of the park. Now, at the moment, it looks 8 out of 10-ish as far as I'm concerned. I think they potentially, depending on how quickly Adam May is ready to come back, how quickly Jordan Cousins is fit and ready to come back, I think they're potentially an injury away from having a problem in defensive midfield. I think they haven't quite got enough options in terms of if they want to go regularly to a 2 up top and have alternatives off the bench, but those are the only real negatives. I think the players they brought in have been real additions, real good additions, and I think the latest one is a player who is only young but has got Football League experience with Carlisle last season, where he won promotion and scored in one of the playoff games, so that'll help. I think John Gordon played for Carlisle often as part of a front 2, so he's more of an out-and-out striker, but he can play in that Solly Kaikai role on the left-hand side of an attacking 3, and I think that's where he'll get more of his appearances. So to have that flexibility, well, United's watchword in their squad has been flexibility. So as long as they don't pick up injuries in key areas and too many injuries in key areas, I think the summer dealings have been very good. They've certainly bolstered the squad. They've strengthened it in terms of ability and in terms of experience. If they can stay fit enough, it's great, but you're only an injury to George Thomas or Paul Digby at the moment away from having a bit of a problem in defensive midfield.
As we've said on the show a few times before, when you're working with a smaller budget, it's probably unrealistic to sit here at the end of a transfer window, look at a Cambridge United squad and think you're completely 100% foolproof, well stocked in every area. It's just beyond what the club can really do.
the best they can do is the best you can hope for, which is you can't be a Man City and have 3 players that cover at every position. That's impossible, and it's a ridiculous aspiration. So what you do is build the squad as best as you can and hope that you don't get 4 left backs go down at the same time. So assuming you don't get a key injury in a key position, I think United have built a very good squad.
One of the defining factors, characteristics of the youth recruitment this summer has been focusing on experience, and it seems to me a couple of reasons for that. One, you look at the likes of Michael Morris and Ryan Bennett and the impact they made in January. It was clear that the youths were lacking that League One experience. Also, there are some really exciting young players in this squad, most notably Jack Lancaster and Liam Bennett. But one of the advantages, if you're Cambridge United, of working with the older players is that you don't have that concern over contracts and retaining the value of players. With the older players, it seems to work quite well for everyone just to go with the 1-year deals. It makes it that much more straightforward in that respect when you're dealing with the older players.
Absolutely right, and I think the difference, there's very little difference, if you like, between getting a player in on a 1-year deal with experience and bringing an exciting youngster in from a higher division club on a 1-year loan. Because, well, in fact, the only difference is the player on a 1-year loan has got a chance of having a recall clause. So there's no real difference between a loan now and a short-term contract, which is the way United are going, and it future-proofs them, if you like. It does mean that if you give a more experienced player a long contract and they break down, you're not lumbered with the obligation and the payroll for longer than that player is, to be brutally honest, of use to you. And it does sound horrible when you put it like that, but that is how football works. So to go for a shorter term contract to get that experience in, and it probably suits the more experienced player as well to say, OK, well, I'm going to give it another year. I'll give it a go at Cambridge and let's see how it goes. If I like it, I can always see if I can extend it for a while. If I don't, then I've lost nothing other than gained another year of not worrying about what I'm going to do with myself. So I think it's a win-win situation, really, from that respect. I think the days of lower division teams tying players into 10-year deals are long, long gone.
I think it's one of the most challenging elements around youth development, knowing when to offer the longer contracts, because you want to ideally retain the value of promising players, but you don't want to get stuck with players who aren't doing well and haven't got the resale value. Making those calls, I think, is really, really difficult. And I do honestly think going down the route of experienced players, it just saves you that headache. OK, have a Jibril Okadina, have a Jack Lancaster on a longer contract, but actually don't have too many of them.
Yeah, exactly right. And in terms of developing players, you've still got the option to have your youth players who can move on for money that you just don't hear about, because they still do move to Championship and Premier youth setups in the background. And if you're good enough, they'll find you. And it's another way of a club like Cambridge United carrying on and building the first team squad. The youth player doesn't necessarily have to come through the youth ranks and play for you to help you develop. They could come through the ranks, be sold on and play for a big club, and it's still helping you develop, if that makes sense, because you've got the funds from that sale.
Let's just remind everybody then of the 7 players who've arrived at the Abbey Stadium over the summer. So most recently, yesterday morning, on loan from Crystal Palace, John Kamani Gordon, who's a young striker. Ghassan Ahadmi also coming in on loan from Ipswich until the end of the season. Of course, he's made a really promising start to his youth career. 5 permanent signings: Danny Andrew in from Fleetwood, Jack Stevens from Oxford in between the sticks. Jordan Cousins, with his suspect injury record, quality player, but he's struggled over recent seasons to get out on the pitch. He's already picked up an injury, so you can see the element of gamble there. Suli Kaikai back at the club, having left MK Dons, and Elias Kachunga, who played for Huddersfield in the Premier League, making the move to the Abbey from Bolton. Further FA Cup reaction coming your way in just a bit. Don't forget Cambridge United against Reading. Full match commentary here on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire on Monday night. Thanks a lot, Andy. What an afternoon it has been, particularly if you're a fan of Cambridge City. 6-1 victory, cruising into the second qualifying round of the FA Cup. Not too bad if you're a fan of Royston either. 1-0 win. Don't forget then at 6 o'clock Monday evening, all of the build-up ahead of Cambridge United against Reading in League One. So the U's, they weren't playing this afternoon because they're on the telly Monday night, but you can enjoy the game with us. Full match commentary across all frequencies. The game getting underway at 8 o'clock. Whatever you're doing with the rest of your Saturday night, have a fantastic time, and we'll catch you on Monday evening.